Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, November 4th, 2024. Tapes, I guess. Let's do it. Good morning, everyone. Who is tired of hearing about the 2024 presidential election? Or other things. So many things to be tired about. I hate to do this to you, but we have to. Nothing election-related here. Just normal presidential presidents doing president shit already in the office. No coups. No flagrant undermining of democracy, the likes of which we've never seen. Just the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. We got Washington. We got Monticello. It's going to be great. This is, 50 minutes sent in by Trill Girl. You can thank Trill. And then we're going to cool down after that with Backyard Birdwatcher. How to create a wild bird sanctuary in your very own backyard. So hopefully that'll be a nice balance. Presidential facts was your hyperfixation? Oh. There have been some good ones. Who was our only Catholic president? I know that one. Who was the only we almost had John Kerry. Who was the only president who was a movie star? Okay, yeah, we know that one too. Which state gave us the most presidents? I don't know, but North Carolina has 3. Which university is the alma mater of the most presidents? Who is the only president? Yeah, okay, Grover Cleveland. All right. Oh, well, spoilers, hey? These and many other questions about our chief executives will be answered in this lively video. Lively, thank you, that reviews the extraordinary facts about the men who have occupied the White House. You will learn each president's political affiliation, state of residence, term in office, their birthplaces. All right, great. The Just the Facts Learning Series brings these important leaders to you in a fast-paced style that makes learning fun. This tape, like the U.S. presidency, only for men. Ugh. I really hope... I have a lot of hopes, but I'm not going to speak them aloud today. Here we go. The presidents. Just the facts. Thank you, Trill. I'm so tired of men being president. We don't need to, do all the men before we let one woman in there. We don't need to have literally the worst man to, finish out the man phase. Ooh. Hey, how about that exciting VHS intro? That's some great graphics. Everything's coming full circle. This is coming out of the wrong audio device for me, so I need to fix it.
The presidency of the United States is the most powerful position in the nation. In fact, the president is often referred to as the leader of the free world.
As such, the president has a tremendous responsibility to not only lead our country, but to serve as a leader among leaders of nations all over the globe.
In this program, we'll learn more about the men who have occupied this important office.
Men.
Before we start, let's see...
Trivia questions. This tape has it all.
Can you name the only president who was a movie star?
Who is the only Catholic president?
Can you name the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms? In other words,
There we go.
not back-to-back?
Which state gave
The only one ever, the only one there will ever be, Grover Cleveland.
Which university educated the most presidents?
Can you name 2 U.S. presidents who were West Point graduates?
Which president was the first to live in the White House?
Who were the only 2 presidents ever impeached?
Adams, I think.
Only one president resigned the office. Who was it?
I love Pixel Nixon.
He served both as vice president and president, but was never elected by a popular vote of the people.
At the end of our program, we'll give you the answers. Hopefully by
Oh my God,
then
President
you will
Cube.
have found the answers to these and many more interesting facts about our nation's chief executives. Let's get started.
So exciting.
George Washington, our first president.
This is George Washington's
George
wrestler
Washington's
intro
home was
theme
a state called
song.
Mount
It's very
Vernon,
understated.
Located on the banks of the Potomac River in Virginia. He was attracted to the military as a young man and quickly rose through the ranks in the Virginia militia. This put him in line to become our young nation's supreme military commander during the Revolutionary War. His exploits during our war for independence from England won him the respect and devotion he needed to become our first president.
Oh, why is Auld Lang Syne
Finest
the Washington
America
song?
had exhibited in his day. In May 1787,
He's not- he
Washington
wasn't
led a
Scottish.
delegation to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia and was unanimously elected our first president in 1789. Washington's presidency, although marked by differences of opinion over foreign affairs since our country was in its infancy, was successful. When he left office, the country's financial system was well established. The U.S. territory had been expanded, and many conflicts between political parties over the new federal government were settled. He died in this room at the age of 67 in 1799
Ugh.
and was interred in the tomb
Yet we settled
Mount Vernon estate.
political parties. All settled, all done. Famously.
John Adams, our second president. John Adams was born in this modest saltbox house near Boston, but John Adams' life was to be anything but modest.
John Adams was one of the
George Washington, who was mainly self-taught, John
only
Adams
signers
had
of the Declaration of
excellent
Independence who
formal
did not
education.
own
He
slaves.
entered Harvard College in 1751, where he studied law. He mastered
The HBO
profession
miniseries
and began a
John
science
Adams is
law.
really, really good.
Adams was
If you're
a
interested in
Massachusetts
Revolutionary
delegate
history.
to the 1774 Continental Congress, held here in Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. He helped draft the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Adams was named our first vice president under George Washington and succeeded him as our second president. John Adams was the first to live in the White House. Although his own presidency was a troubled one, he was an honest man who personified the best of what the nation could hope for in its leaders. He retired to his home in what is now Quincy, Massachusetts, and died there on July 4th, 1826, at the age of 90.
Thomas Jefferson, the third president. The inscription on Jefferson's tomb, which he wrote himself, reads Author of the Declaration of American Independence, the Statute of Virginia for Religious Freedom, and Father of the University of Virginia. He insisted that not a word more be added, although historians would add many more words to this great man's epitaph. For one
Okay,
thing, he
mod
had an
allowance.
his beautiful home called Monticello in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Monticello. All right,
He
tape.
designed it in every detail. Jefferson attended the College of William and Mary and then studied law. His prominence in the Virginia legislature led to an appointment to head a committee of 5 in preparing the Declaration of Independence. In June of 1779, Jefferson was elected governor of Virginia. When the Constitution was written in 1787, he insisted that the Bill of Rights be added to provide added protection for every individual. In 1801, Jefferson succeeded Adams as president and served for 2 terms. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 capped his achievements. The land was purchased from France for $15 million, and it nearly doubled the size of our country. After he retired from the presidency,
Hooray, Manifest
he devoted
Destiny.
most of his energies to the founding of the University of Virginia at Charlottesville. The university was the last of 3 contributions by which Jefferson wanted to be remembered, although he's gone down in history as one of our greatest presidents.
I wonder when they're going to pick up the pace. Like, are they going to be talking this much about fucking
James Madison, our
Rutherford
fourth
B.
president.
Hayes?
James Madison is known as the father of the Constitution, the foremost architect of the supreme law of the land. Madison was born into a family that had been in Virginia since the mid-17th century. They farmed a 5,000-acre plantation that grew grains and tobacco. Young Madison left Virginia to further his education. He studied at the College of New Jersey, now known as Princeton. One of his early political jobs was on the Council of the State of Virginia, serving under Governors Patrick Henry and Thomas Jefferson. He was appointed as a representative from Virginia to the Constitutional Convention in 1787 for the framing of our Constitution, where he emerged as a great leader. In 1801, Thomas Jefferson appointed Madison Secretary of State, and in the next presidential election, Madison was chosen as our 4th president.
Oh, the War of 1812.
His second term in office was plagued by the War of 1812.
Goddamn
in which
British.
America successfully defended itself against Great Britain. It was
Impressing
during
our
that
sailors.
presidency that we fought the Battle of Baltimore Harbor at Fort McHenry, where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner.
Hey, Bella,
His
fuck
presidency,
off.
Madison
You're
retired
you're from
in
British
1870
Columbia. Don't
to
give me
his
that
Virginia
shit.
estate, Montpelier, and lived there until his death in 1836. He is buried next to his wife, Dolly Madison, in a quiet family burial plot near their home.
James Monroe, the 5th president. Like Thomas Jefferson, James Monroe attended the College of William and Mary.
We respect
His
your
profession
heritage,
was
fella.
the practice
Just
of law.
don't come at us.
Monroe was a lieutenant in the Virginia militia and fought under George Washington in the Revolutionary War. Washington called him a brave, active, and sensible officer. This also describes Monroe as president. During his presidency, we purchased Florida from Spain, and the U.S. boundary was delineated across the Rockies all the way to the Pacific Ocean. His Monroe Doctrine became a cardinal doctrine of westward expansion and sent a message to foreign countries that the American continent is off limits to European powers.
The American
And that
continent.
we will
Thank you,
consider
Green Day.
any
That's
attempt
5
to
gift
extend
subs.
their system to any portion of this hemisphere as dangerous to our peace and safety. Monroe may not have been as heroic as Washington, as creative as Jefferson, or as brilliant as Madison, but he earned a reputation of being hardworking, self-sacrificing, and honest. His home, called Ashlawn, was located a few short miles from Thomas Jefferson's Monticello in Charlottesville, Virginia. He died in 1831 and was buried here in historic Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, the capital of his home state.
Oh, James
John
Quincy.
Adams,
John
our
Quincy,
6th
sorry.
president.
J.Q. Adams. The first nepotism
John Quincy Adams,
president.
like his father, who was our 2nd president, was a highly educated scholar. He was groomed to be a statesman from his early childhood. His father took him on various missions to Europe, to France, Germany, Russia, Sweden, and Denmark. John Quincy Adams studied in Paris and finished his education at Harvard, majoring in law. When he graduated, he could speak 7 languages, including classical Latin. His fluency with languages served him well. President Washington named him American Minister to Holland and subsequently Minister to Prussia. President James Madison appointed Adams minister to Russia, where he lived for 4 years. That was followed by foreign service in England as the first post-war minister to Great Britain. His service back home included the state senate in Massachusetts.
Yeah, actually,
The United States Senate.
did they have
During the James
an Irish flag just in the middle of Central Asia?
Secretary of State, it was Adams who was the moving force behind the Monroe Doctrine. Adams' presidency.
That was India? Oh. Well, India and Ireland do have the same flag. That's straight up Ireland. There's no seal in the middle of that. Yeah, Israel is in Africa?
Britain. His service back home included the state senate
the fuck?
in Massachusetts. Force behind the Monroe Doctrine. Adams' presidency was a period of expansionism and continued westward growth. When Adams died in 1848, he was the last surviving statesman of the American Revolution.
Andrew Jackson, the 7th president.
Andrew Jackson, I think, was our first real son of a bitch president.
Andrew Jackson was more rough-hewn than his predecessors. He was considered a champion for the common man. Jackson studied law and served as a Tennessee state legislator.
Like, he was effective. He was also a real son of a bitch.
1812 dictated his political future. As a major general in the Tennessee militia, his defeat of the British at the Battle of New Orleans made Andrew Jackson a symbol of American strength. Old Hickory, as he came to be known, regarded the office of president as a stronghold. He used the veto power of his office more than all of his predecessors combined.
Veto.
This prompted his enemies to charge him with abuse of power. Jackson's legacy is that he helped shape the Democratic Party and the strength of the modern American presidency.
Martin Van Buren, our 8th president.
Martin Van Buren was the first president to be born a U.S. citizen.
Still another Virginian who rose to the highest office in the land.
The rest of them are all born before
He served as
the
state senator
Revolution.
in Virginia, then moved to New York as the state attorney general, and then United States senator. He was vice president during Andrew Jackson's 2nd term in office, and then followed him as the next president.
What is this Fire Emblem cutscene?
The political nightmare was the nation's first major depression, known as the Panic of 1837, which occurred shortly after he was sworn in. He encouraged full employment by appealing to private business, feeling it was up to them, not the government, to end economic problems. This led to his political downfall. In 1840, he was defeated in his bid for re-election in a landslide victory for his opponent.
William
Henry Harrison.
Our
He died in 30 days. The jaunty music.
Virginia gave us a total of 8 presidents. Harrison is one of them. He's most remembered as a soldier. He was a fierce Indian fighter.
No, he's most remembered for dying in 30 days.
In the Battle of Tippecanoe. Also, in the War of 1812, raising to the rank of Brigadier General, he fought bravely against the British and the Indians in the Great Lakes region. When he ran for president, his running mate was John Tyler. Their campaign was the first to make a direct appeal to the American voters. Their slogan was Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Harrison was criticized by his opponents as being too old for the job.
Too old and too dead.
They turned out to be right. He contracted pneumonia and died after only 1
69 was too old to be president. Ha!
John Tyler, our 10th president. John Tyler was the first president to assume the presidency on the death of the incumbent president. He's still
The one
another
who died in
president
30
who
days.
Came to the presidency by way of the College of William and Mary and the Virginia political system. Tyler's route to the presidency was a very familiar one. The Virginia State
So that's what
Legislature,
Tippecanoe and Tyler 2 was
United
about.
States Senator from Virginia, governor of Virginia,
He got to
and finally vice
Tyler got to be
president of
the
United States.
and the rest of that political campaign. He was just Tyler 2.
Proposed a move to create a
And Tyler
central
2.
bank. He set a new record for vetoes, returning more bills unsigned than did Andrew Jackson.
Veto.
Tyler became
Veto.
the first president.
Yes, there's one more veto on that graphic than when they showed it for Jackson.
Tyler's greatest successes were in foreign policy. He opened the first American trade route to China. He extended the Monroe Doctrine to Hawaii. He ended the Seminole Indian War, and he settled the Maine boundary dispute. Tyler chose not to run for re-election, preferring retirement to his beautiful home state of Virginia. When he died, he was interred in Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, where James Monroe and many other American patriots are buried.
James Knox
I love all the graphics.
Our 11th president.
Jesus. When is this from? 1999. Yeah, that's about right.
Historians
Ooh, our first
generally
bluegrass
agree that James
president.
K. Polk was a near-great president, largely because he achieved a great deal in his self-imposed single term in office. He promised to reduce the tariff on foreign imports in order to promote international trade, restore the independent treasury system, which keeps federal money in government-owned banks, and expand our boundaries by annexing Oregon and California. He did all of that and more. While he was president, the border dispute with England over Oregon was settled peacefully. But another border dispute with Mexico
There's
was
also-
not peaceful.
They Might Be Giants
Mexico
and
answered
Jonathan
the
Colton, I think,
questions
both
and
made
forces
songs
in
about
Texas
John
and
Cape,
attacking soldiers
about Polk.
under the command of General Zachary Taylor. The resulting Mexican-American War led to a new southwestern boundary for the United States.
Yeah, Polk was supposed to die 8 years before, but he made a deal with the devil
in 1849
for Harrison
and
to be
died
taken
3
in his
months
place.
after leaving office.
Zachary Taylor, the 12th.
Oh,
president.
Taylor and Fillmore and John. We're getting into the really mediocre presidents.
Zachary Taylor is still another Virginian to serve as President of the United States. Although born in Virginia, he was raised in Kentucky. He was from a prominent family. His father had served with George Washington during the Revolutionary War. Following in his father's footsteps, General Taylor distinguished himself to the American people as a military leader. He earned the nickname Old Rough and Ready. His presidency was lackluster and brief. He died only 16 months after taking
That's
office. In
the early 1800s.
his vice
Lackluster and brief. The only thing you learn about them at school is like, they had a fun nickname.
Millard Fillmore, our 13th.
Fillmore didn't even get a fun nickname. He's just a sack of potatoes sitting in the White House.
Although he had little formal education, Millard Fillmore passed the bar exam in New York State and established a successful law practice. A leader in the anti-Masonic movements in the mid-1820s, he was elected to Congress as an
He devoted his presidency
During
to
Fillmore's
going after the
administration,
Masons.
The nation was expanding rapidly. California was added to the Union. The debate raged, however, if new states were to be free or slave states. Daniel Webster helped Fillmore pass the Compromise of 1850, which chartered certain new states free and other slave states. It was important legislation at the time, but merely postponed the inevitable conflict which lay ahead.
God, we really didn't know what the fuck we were doing as a country in the decades before the Civil War, and then that came back to bite us.
Franklin Pierce, our 14th president.
I really hope we can figure out what the fuck we're doing now.
Franklin Pierce is generally ranked among the least effective chief executives. He is considered to be an accidental president, the least controversial of others who were running for office at that time. His administration was plagued by questions of slavery. Should it be permitted in new territories such as Kansas and Nebraska? The controversy led to the formation of a new political party.
It's almost like at a time when the nation was in crisis, electing
Grand Old Party.
complete
They tried to bring
dipshits
new solutions to
was a
slavery.
bad idea.
Pierce left office without achieving anything of significance.
James Buchanan, our 15th.
I love how straight they're playing it, just dumping on Pierce.
Another Democrat took the helm following Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, from Pennsylvania. He was generally regarded as an ineffective president, but in his defense, he was a victim of one of the most difficult periods of American history.
one which
He was a
he and
capable
his
man
party
who
created.
studied and practiced law in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He held many important positions. Member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, Minister to Russia under Andrew Jackson. He was a United States Senator, and he served as James K. Polk's Secretary of State. During
Yeah, these were some bad
the
presidents.
slavery issue was threatening to break up the Union. It was all it could do to keep peace between the Republicans in the North
Things are
and the
legitimately
secessionist states in the South.
things are legitimately very bad today in a lot of
Was
ways.
Pennsylvania estates called Wheatland in Lancaster.
I
where he
guess-
voted defense of his
I don't know. It
administration.
gives you a little context to remember, like,
2 years.
the U.S. really screwed the pooch in the 1800s. Like, we were in a real bad spot.
Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president.
Like, it gives you some context for why Lincoln was considered so great.
Abraham Lincoln is
'Cause he
considered
righted the
by many
ship after we
historians to have been the greatest
Really hit
president.
rock bottom.
He had a humble beginning. Born into a poor family in Kentucky, his home was a log cabin. They moved to Indiana to find land to farm, then eventually settled in Illinois. He was self-taught
Illinois.
and highly motivated. He was ambitious and hardworking. His love of knowledge eventually led to a law degree. His political career began in the Illinois State Legislature in 1832 as a member of the Whig Party. From 1847 to 1849, Lincoln served one term as member of the House of Representatives. He was a critic of the Mexican War, calling President Polk's declaration of war unconstitutional. He was also opposed to any expansion of new territories that would allow slavery.
What?
In his Senate nomination acceptance speech, he made a prophetic
was that little
prediction
interstitial
that the
about?
nation would eventually become either all slave or all free, and made his famous comment, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." When Lincoln assumed the duties of president, the nation was, in fact, dividing.
Ah!
At the time of his inauguration,
God, that graphic.
of 1861,
They really went all out,
7
symbolizing.
seceded from
You
the
can see how it subtly symbolizes the division of the nation.
Just 1 month into Lincoln's presidency, the Civil War began. Lincoln believed it was his right as commander-in-chief to abolish slavery as a military necessity. The Emancipation Proclamation accomplished this and paved the way for blacks to be accepted into the Army. Here, near this site, he delivered a brief address dedicating a burial ground in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, for those who died in that terrible battle. His now famous Gettysburg Address is a speech written on the train on the way to Gettysburg. Scribbled on the back of an envelope, Lincoln had no idea it would go down in history as one of the greatest presidential speeches.
I love how everyone learns about this speech in school,
In 1864,
and then the only thing
but
anyone
his
remembers
presidency
is
was cut short.
how the
It was
sentence
here,
that it starts with.
at the theater in Washington, D.C.
It's
that
actually a
Lincoln
really,
would end.
really good speech.
A pro-slavery Southern sympathizer, John Wilkes Booth, shot Lincoln and escaped, but was caught a short time later. The president was taken to a house across the street from the theater, where he died of a gunshot wound to the head. His memorial is one of the most visited landmarks in Washington, D.C., a great monument to a great leader.
I'm going to take a difficult stance here and say you shouldn't kill the president.
Andrew Johnson, our 17th president.
Oh, and our second bluegrass president.
In 1864,
Also considered one of the
ran for a
worst.
second term in office. The Union Party wanted a pro-war Southern Democrat as Lincoln's running mate. They chose Johnson, giving us a Republican president and a Democratic vice president.
What kind of fucking
Andrew
plan was
Johnson,
that?
like Lincoln, came from a very poor family. He had no formal education. He began learning the trade of a tailor at the age of 14. He was an ambitious man, however, and self-taught.
We really, like,
He joined the Tennessee Democratic Party,
the system
following in the footsteps of Andrew Jackson.
that was devised for this country in the late 1700s, the whole system of government, it's pretty good. Like, it was a pretty great idea.
The state Congress.
They really, like, didn't figure out what the fuck the vice president was supposed to be, and it took like
As president, he was at the center of the
at
struggle.
least 100 years to kind of settle that.
Bringing the country together again was
It just
so
seems like an
difficult
oversight.
that led to bitter contests in Congress, and even led to Johnson's impeachment by the House of Representatives. The Senate ultimately found him not guilty of the impeachment charges.
Ulysses Simpson Grant.
Yeah, we had Reconstruction and then a real hard jerk back into
Ulysses S. Grant was one of
How
two
things- the
presidents
status
who came
quo.
out of the United States Military Academy at West Point. He came to the presidency by way of a military career rather than a political.
I grew up in Alabama.
Grant rose through the ranks to become
So my
general
history
in chief
classes were
of
just-
all the federal
They,
armies
when they
during
covered
the
Reconstruction, it was like
After years
scalawags and carpetbaggers. These northern Yankees came down, tried to take advantage of all our poor southern folk.
at Appomattox,
We kicked 'em out.
ending the Civil War. Following the war, he served under Andrew Johnson as general-in-chief. And
They didn't mention anything about like, you know,
his hard-line views on Reconstruction of the South.
the black people that
helped
got
secure
elected
the
to Congress
presidential
and then were
nomination
like
in
immediately forced out.
1868. Grant's presidency was lackluster, and his second term came under a cloud of graft, scandal, and corruption, although he was not personally implicated. His book, The Personal Memoirs of U.S. Grant, has become an American classic. He died in 1885 at the age of 63, and he was laid to rest in Grant's tomb in New York City.
In San Diego, there's a U.S. Grant Hotel that's very
Rutherford Burchard
a very
Hayes,
fancy
our 19th
classical building. Oh, Rutherford B. Hayes.
Hayes was a scholarly man, an attorney who studied at Harvard Law School. He was also a military man, achieving the rank of Major General during the Civil War. Hayes was elected to Congress at the end of the war, and from 1868 to 1872 served as the governor of Ohio.
All right, we're finally getting into the
His
Gilded
election to
Age.
the presidency was a very close one, in which 20 electoral votes were disputed by his opponent. It took a congressional commission to resolve the matter and name him president. He was regarded as a competent chief executive who restored Republican morale and dignity to the office of president, following the scandals of the Grant administration.
James Abram Garfield, our 20th president.
Oh yeah, there were suddenly like a million Ohio presidents.
James A. Garfield assumed the presidency in 1881 and was assassinated later that same year.
Ah, that's right. I have to reset the index in the database to make it.
Like Rutherford B. Hayes,
Thank you
Garfield
for
was a
bringing that to my
military
attention.
man, achieving the rank of Major General during the Civil War.
I will change it
Prior
after
to
the
his
stream.
military career, he had been a teacher and president of Hiram College in Ohio. Garfield's brief presidency was ended by a deranged office seeker who shot him in a Washington railway station.
If you shoot the president, you get his
Chester
powers.
Allen Arthur, our 21st president.
Actually, no, don't shoot the president.
Garfield's vice president, Chester A. Arthur, succeeded to the presidency in September of 1881. Arthur was an attorney who practiced law in New York City. The Republican Party, hoping he would help Garfield carry New York in the election, offered him the vice presidency. Arthur called it a greater honor than I ever dreamed of attaining. As president, Arthur achieved
I love
little
the neckbeard
due to a
mutton
stalemated
chops.
party system and a divided Congress. His administration dealt with issues like Chinese immigration, the creation of a civil service commission, and new
They dealt with issues
on imports.
like Chinese immigration, i.e., they passed laws prohibiting Chinese people from immigrating.
helped restore confidence in the office. Arthur died 21 months after leaving the White House.
Stephen Grover Cleveland, our 22nd and 24th president. Grover Cleveland was the only United States president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. He was born in this modest house in Caldwell, New Jersey, not far from New York City. As a young man, he moved to Buffalo, New York, and, like his predecessor, Chester A. Arthur, he practiced law in the state of New York. He held local political office in Buffalo, assistant district attorney, sheriff, and mayor. He fought to cut the city budget, and he fought crime and corruption.
There's so
This
much
caught the eye of the Democratic
impact
Party, and he became the next governor of New York
in this
State.
video.
This was
Some
an
very
80
1999
sentence.
typography choices.
His first term in office was successful, although not marked by any events of great notice. When Cleveland took office for a second time in 1893, a national depression was looming. Always erring on the side of conservative big business, his handling of the economic crisis was severely criticized and escalated the divisions between the Republicans and the Democrats. Some historians portray Cleveland as an inept leader who left his party in ruins. Others regard him as a man of courage and principle. Both are partly correct. He was courageous and principled, but sometimes refused to listen to the views of other courageous and principled individuals. Leaving office, Cleveland
Why did
spent
they leave that
10
grunge
years
boy in the
teaching
shot?
at Princeton University.
It's really wrecking my historical vibes.
Benjamin Harrison, our 23rd president. The presidency of the United States was a family affair for the Harrisons. Benjamin Harrison's grandfather, William Henry, was our 9th president.
The one who died in 30 days.
President Benjamin Harrison was an aggressive administrator.
He promised to
Did not make
meet and exceed the standard set by his forefather by not dying.
Who also had a noteworthy military career. He served in the 70th Indiana Infantry during the Civil War and rose to the rank of Brigadier General. As president, Harrison fostered expansion of the United States Navy and Merchant Marine, and he worked toward...
Well, made it to 31.
While that did not
Peace
happen
out.
during his term, 6 northwestern states were added to the Union. Despite his accomplishments, the voters disliked his religious moralism, expensive programs, and Harrison's heavy-handed governing style. In the next election, Grover Cleveland was voted back into office.
Don't make us learn about Grover Cleveland again. Okay, thank you.
William McKinley, our 25th president. William McKinley also saw action in the Civil War. He served in the 23rd Ohio Volunteers under the command of Rutherford B. Hayes. He left the Army with the rank of major.
Then he got shot. Moving on.
In 1876, Ohio voters sent him to Congress, and for the next 14 years, he served in the House of Representatives.
And then he got
His
shot.
next political office was that of Governor of Ohio. He served 2 terms before becoming the 25th President of the United States.
Then he got
His
shot.
presidency focused largely on foreign policy during his 4.5 years in office. It was during McKinley's presidency that Spain attempted to take over Cuba. The United States intervened to preserve Cuban independence, and the Spanish-American War was the result. The war was brief, and the United States emerged as a world power.
We really did great
Exactly
things.
during McKinley's
We
tenure,
helped the Cubans.
The United States annexed Hawaii. McKinley was elected to a second term, with Teddy Roosevelt as his vice president.
And then he got shot.
But an assassin's bullet cut his life short just 1 month into his second term in office. During his term, the office of president grew stronger, and he set the stage for further growth under Roosevelt and Wilson.
All right, now we're into modern presidents.
Our 26th president.
We made it to the 20th
Teddy
century,
Roosevelt succeeded to the presidency on the death
which is the last century this tape covers because it's a
Robust,
VHS tape.
Outspoken and humane person. He was born and raised in New York City. His home in Manhattan is now a National Historic Site. As a New York State Assemblyman, he supported legislation to benefit working people and bills to improve the governing of New York City. During the Spanish-American War, he saw action in Cuba with the Rough Riders and returned home as a colonel. He served as governor of New York State, which served as a stepping stone to the White House. During his presidency, he supervised the construction of the Panama Canal. Roosevelt used the office of president to enlarge the Navy and the Army.
Taft
in
is
order to
next, I
protect
think.
United States acquisitions abroad. He
I
paved
really
the
hope they
way for
mention the
America
bathtub,
to play
because
a
that's the only
larger
thing I know
role
about
in world
Taft.
affairs. Teddy Roosevelt left a definite mark on history. He elevated the presidency to a level it hadn't reached.
Also, I've heard, like, even from period sources, like talking about FDR, people
William Howard
in, like,
Taft,
movies from
our
the 40s talking about
27th
FDR. Some people say Roosevelt, some people say Roosevelt.
William Howard Taft was well-bred and educated. His family traces its origins to 17th century Massachusetts.
It's
He graduated
even in
from Yale
1999, it's
University
weird to hear
1878,
presidents being described as
starting with his lab.
well-bred.
Taft's path to the presidency was through the court system. He was appointed to the Ohio Superior Court in 1887, followed by a federal judgeship for 8 years. Taft's presidency was marked by controversy and turmoil during a period of national reform. After his stormy presidency, he settled into a professorship at Yale Law School until 1921. When
And then he got stuck in a
President
bathtub.
Harding appointed him Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He ended his public life
McKinley
in
got shot.
law, where he began some 50 years.
They don't even talk about the bathtub?
Thomas Woodrow Wilson, our 28th president. Woodrow Wilson was a scholar. First and foremost, he was an educator. But when called upon to serve, he was also a political leader. Wilson was born here, in Staunton, Virginia, into a devoutly religious family. His home and the Woodrow Wilson Museum, located a few doors away, are regularly visited by tourists. He was brought up believing in high moral principles and
Like
personal
racism.
Wilson's impressive formal education includes matriculation at Princeton University, the University of Virginia Law School, and Johns Hopkins University, where he received a doctoral degree. Wilson taught at Bryn Mawr College, at Wesleyan University, and at Princeton. In 1902, he became the president of Princeton University. This lofty position propelled Wilson into the public limelight. And when he ran for governor of New Jersey in 1910, he scored an easy victory. From there, it was a logical step to the White House. Wilson's presidency was one of foreign diplomacy, international mediations, and all-out war. Being a peace-loving man, Wilson worked hard to keep the United States out of World War I, but without success. In 1920, Wilson was given the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. The award stands as a testament to his dedication to bringing peace to the world.
What do we got,
Warren
Harding?
Gamaliel Harding, our
Gamaliel.
29th president.
He was... Warren G. Harding was the first, like,
Warren G. Harding
the first sex
presidency
scandal
was marked by
president.
efforts to readjust following World War I. He entered politics by way of the newspaper business. He and two business partners owned the Marion, Ohio Daily Star. Harding was elected
I mean, I've just
to the Ohio
I've just
State
watched
Senate
Boardwalk
in
Empire.
1998.
They cover Harding and his sex scandals.
Was sent to the United
Pretty
States
candidly.
Senate. At the Republican Convention of 1920, Harding emerged as a compromise candidate for president. One of his friends admitted
They're
that
probably not
his
going to talk about his sex
qualifications
scandals
for the
in this.
office was that he looked like a president. While Harding himself
Burn.
was never implicated in any scandal, his administration is best known for incidents of bribery and graft. Harding never served out his term in office. He died suddenly of a heart attack in 1923, turning over the reins of office to his vice president.
Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president. While Calvin Coolidge took the reins of office from Harding, he kept a slack rein, believing in a minimum of government intervention in private affairs. Coolidge was a cool-headed, studious lawyer who came to the vice presidency and subsequently the presidency by way of the governorship of Massachusetts. He was frugal, very quiet, and deliberately maintained a low
Oh
presidential
my God, we're in the
profile.
20s now, so we get film
He was a friend of big
footage.
business. One of his
of the
sayings
candidates.
was, "The business of America is business." In 1928, he decided against running again for president. He retired to his home state of Vermont and died there in 1933 at the age of 61.
Herbert Clark Hoover, our 31st president. Herbert Hoover was orphaned at age 8 and went to live with a wealthy uncle who made it possible for Hoover to go to college. He studied geology at Stanford University in California and spent the next 2 decades amassing a fortune in gold mines and other mining operations. When World War I broke out, he directed the exodus of Americans from war-torn Europe and then headed the Commission for Relief in Belgium. His work brought him public acclaim and the nickname the Great Humanitarian. In 1928, President Harding appointed Hoover as his Secretary of Commerce. In this office, he made his most important contribution to public policy. His own presidency, however, was a disaster. The Wall Street crash of October 1929 and the subsequent Great Depression of the 1930s destroyed his hopes for achieving anything good. As millions of people went without jobs and food, the Great Humanitarian was easily defeated in the polls by Franklin Roosevelt, who promised Americans a New Deal. He died at the ripe old age of 90 in New York City.
He died at the ripe old age of 90. Her diction is very strange.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our 32nd president. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was born into a well-to-do family and was raised in idyllic surroundings.
Yeah, we get to save a little time here because
in Hyde Park, New York.
It's one segment for 4 terms.
Groton Preparatory School, Harvard University, and Columbia Law School. Admitted to the New York State Bar, he practiced law in New York City. He married a distant cousin, Anna Eleanor Roosevelt. Her uncle, President Teddy Roosevelt, gave the bride away. He was a dynamic campaigner. The Roosevelt name went far in carrying him up the political ladder.
They were 5th cousins, I think.
Governorship of New York. And then, in 1933, Franklin Roosevelt took over,
which is like
President of the United States.
Health-wise
He
fine.
had no sooner taken the oath of office, however, when matters
Still seems weird and antiquated, yeah, to keep it in the family.
Collapsed, and the country went into a panic. 12 to 14 million Americans were out of work. Business came almost to a standstill. In his inaugural address, he comforted the American people by saying
that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
His New Deal policies created many new jobs. There were new public construction projects. Unemployment insurance was introduced, and a new Social Security program guaranteed an income for retired Americans. The economy was healing. And
hooray, social programs. Hooray, Civilian Conservation Corps.
Britain's Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, and Roosevelt personally guided Allied military strategies. The American people, not willing to change leaders in the midst of war, re-elected Roosevelt to an unprecedented 4 terms. But an aging president, impaired by polio and weakened by disease, died on April 12, 1945, just months before the war ended. The military command went to his vice president.
Good old Harry S.
Harry S. Truman, our 33rd
There's
president.
not supposed to be a period after that S.
Harry Truman assumed the presidency in a very difficult period of history. World War II was drawing to a bloody close. Germany surrendered just 1 month after the death of Roosevelt. But the fiercely loyal Japanese threatened to die before surrendering, sacrificing many more lives in the process. He made the difficult decision to use the atomic bomb against Japan. The debate continues over whether he did the right thing. But it did, nevertheless, bring the war with Japan to an immediate end. One challenge overcome, a new one emerged. Truman's second term in office was devoted to the Cold War against the Soviet Union and Communist China. When our beloved World War II hero, General Douglas MacArthur, advocated harsh measures against the Communists, Truman fired him for his insubordination. MacArthur came home to a ticker-tape parade. Harry S. Truman will go down in history as one of our finest presidents.
Ike.
Dwight David Eisenhower, the 34th president.
Oh, yeah, Nixon was his vice
Dwight
president.
Eisenhower came from a poor family that moved from Texas, his birthplace, to Abilene, Kansas, where he grew up. Ike, as his friends called him, might not have had a college education had it not been for the free education provided by West Point. He served as Supreme Commander of Western Allied Forces during World War II, and following the war, as Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army. In civilian life, he served as President of Columbia University, and in 1952, he was elected our 34th president. His administration was caught up in two wars, both very frustrating for the American people: the Korean conflict and the Cold War with the Soviet Union. In 1955, Eisenhower suffered a major heart attack. He supported Richard Nixon to succeed him, but a certain senator from Massachusetts had different ideas.
Yeah, the Korean War, I
John
mean,
Fitzgerald
the Korean
Kennedy,
War was a
our
war.
35th president.
It was the first.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy. at
It was
the
the
age
first
of
war that
33,
America
was the youngest
participated
man
in and, like,
the first
very
Roman
deliberately
Catholic ever elected to the presidency.
didn't
of the
call
United
a
States.
war.
He was rich,
for
handsome, and very
bullshit
intelligent.
reasons.
He married Jacqueline Bouvier,
It was a
creating what has
police
been called
action,
America's
yeah.
Camelot. Jack Kennedy was born in Brookline, Massachusetts. His birthplace is now a historical landmark. He graduated from Harvard University. Upon graduation, he joined the United States Navy and assigned the command of a PT boat during
I really
World
hate-
War II. He distinguished himself for bravery in battle. His rise through the political
misuse of
ranks
language,
was inevitable.
like of
First
that
as
kind.
Congressman from Massachusetts, then Senator from Massachusetts, and finally President of the United States.
It's just chicken
Kennedy
shit.
was a
Like,
charismatic leader. He commanded the nation's admiration. In his inaugural
don't make people fight in your
he
war
said,
and then not call it a war.
What your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
His presidency was overshadowed by threats of communism in the Western Hemisphere. The Cuban Missile Crisis occupied much of Kennedy's time. In another part of the world, in Vietnam, our help was also needed to protect against communist takeover. On November 22, 1963, during a motorcade through the city of Dallas,
Who knew this tape would be just
John
explicitly
Kennedy was shot in the head
pro-Vietnam
with a
War?
gas tower. Lee Harvey Oswald, a communist sympathizer, was named as the killer. But the controversy rages as to who the assassins really were. John Fitzgerald Kennedy is buried in a place of honor in Arlington National Cemetery. An eternal flame burns at his grave.
It also it subtly implies that the
Lyndon Baines Johnson, the 36th.
whoever made this tape, man, is a JFK assassination truther.
Lyndon Baines Johnson assumed the
The
presidency.
debate still rages about who the
Death of John F. Kennedy.
their true
Johnson
plural
was born into a
identities
farming family in Texas.
were.
His father, Sam Johnson, served 5 terms in the Texas legislature. Young Lyndon taught school for a year before going to Washington as secretary to a Texas congressman. In the nation's capital, Johnson developed a wide network of political contacts. In 1937,
I love Eisenhower
he was
train.
seated in Congress as representative from Texas. In 1949, he was elected to the United States Senate. He was selected as John F. Kennedy's running mate in 1960 to balance the Democratic ticket and give Kennedy the Southern vote. The high point of his presidency was signing into law the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Johnson left a legacy of escalating the Vietnam War. Vietnam proved to be Johnson's political undoing. He was voted out of office at the end of the decade.
Richard Milhous Nixon, our 37th president. Richard Nixon was born into a modest family in Yorba Linda, California.
What is this Nixon
After
music?
graduating second in his class from Whittier College in California, he went on to law school at Duke University and graduated third in his class.
Hi, Haley. We're learning
He served
about
in the U.S. Navy
presidents.
during World War II, and returning home, ran for Congress from California's 12th District. In Congress, he was assigned to the Committee on Un-American Activities. During the nation's obsession with looking for communists under every rock, he became famous. His oratorical skills and fundraising efforts for the Republican Party put him in line for the vice presidency under Dwight Eisenhower. As vice president, he traveled to Russia and engaged Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev in a
vigorous pointing match.
Debate. While losing his first bid for the presidency, he was sent to the White House in 1969. Nixon's presidency was successful in terms of foreign policy. He made a historic trip to China that reversed U.S. policy regarding the communist Chinese government. But at home, the good that he had achieved was overshadowed by a burglary at the Watergate Hotel. The break-in of the Democratic National Committee headquarters led to his downfall. The House Judiciary Committee voted to recommend 3 articles of impeachment against Nixon. He chose to leave the presidency rather than face impeachment.
You shouldn't do illegal things.
Ever to resign from office.
You shouldn't do crimes to try and win an election.
Gerald Rudolph Ford, our 38th president. Gerald Ford was a product of the University of Michigan and the Yale Law School. When World War II broke out, he enlisted in the Navy and rose to the rank of...
Wow, that was young Gerald Ford?
In 1940,
I didn't know he was our nation's most handsome president.
Representative from Michigan, and served in the House until 1973, when he was selected as vice president under Richard Nixon, after the resignation of Spiro Agnew. When Nixon resigned the presidency, Ford assumed the office, becoming the first president of the United States not chosen by the voters as either vice president or president. As president, Gerald Ford issued a full pardon to Richard Nixon for any crimes he might have committed as president. This led to divisive opinions about his leadership abilities. His administration also saw the collapse of South Vietnam in 1975 and the overthrow of the Cambodian government by communist forces. Ford was voted out of office, giving way to a new Democratic popularity surge.
Poor Jerry. Hey, Jimmy Carter.
James Earl Carter, our 39th president. Jimmy Carter was truly a grassroots candidate. He literally went door to door asking the American people to vote for him as their president. Jimmy Carter had the image of being an ordinary dirt farmer from Georgia, but this was only one side of his personality.
That's kind of derogatory to call him a dirt farmer.
And his expertise was nuclear-powered submarine warfare.
He famously grew peanuts, an actual crop.
Docked in Baltimore Harbor. He ran successfully for state senator in Georgia and served from 1962 to 1966, and then was elected governor of Georgia in 1971. He was elected president in 1977 and arrived in Washington as a virtual unknown. Carter negotiated the peace treaty between Israel and Egypt in 1979 and signed the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty with the Soviet Union that same year. Following his presidency,
oh good, the Middle East and Russia
building homes for the homeless.
Curbed the military conflicts, nipped him in the bud. Carter did good.
Ronald Wilson Reagan, the 40th president. Ronald Reagan was the only United States president who was a movie star.
The Iran hostage thing was like the thing that decided this election.
Presidents. Reagan's early years were spent in radio,
they just don't mention
as a sportscaster, and as an actor for Warner Brothers. He appeared in over 50 films. His political career started as president of the Actors Union, the Screen Actors Guild. This led to his nomination and election as governor of California in 1966.
The tide has really turned against Reagan. When I was growing up, granted I grew up in Alabama, but when I was growing up, Reagan was
against Jimmy
God.
Carter. His programs and his personal appeal gave him the upper hand. And in 1981, he began his 8-year reign as president. The Reagan presidency was marked by Cold War jousts and diplomatic
I think it's probably a,
with the Soviet Union.
you know,
Mr. Gorbachev,
deserved
open
pendulum swing,
gate.
though.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
He came out on top in these negotiations, and his administration's legacy is the normalization of relations between Russia and the United States.
Like, I think the reason the hatred that people are expressing is so
George
strong
Herbert Walker
is in
Bush,
part
our
because he
41st
was so revered, and it feels like
George
there's a
Bush
lot of
was born
hypocrisy
into a
there.
wealthy family. His father was a banker
Nobody likes
and
hypocrisy.
a Republican United States Senator from Connecticut. During World War II, Bush became the Navy's youngest bomber pilot and was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. Following the war, he continued his education at Yale University, where he graduated with Phi Beta Kappa honors. Bush spent a number of years in the oil business before entering politics. President Ford appointed him head of the Central Intelligence Agency, and during the Reagan administration, he served as vice president. As president, Bush negotiated a treaty with the Soviet Union to reduce nuclear and conventional arms. He also acted decisively when Kuwait was invaded by Iraq. George Bush always received high approval ratings from the voters, and history will look favorably on his administration.
What did they say about Desert Storm there? What was that? Sorry. That was just a real quick sentence.
To reduce nuclear and conventional arms. He also acted decisively when Kuwait was invaded by Iraq. George Bush always received high approval ratings from the voters, and history will look favorably on his administration.
Okay.
William Jefferson Clinton, our 42nd president.
This tape is from 1999, so Clinton
Bill
was still in
Clinton came
office.
from a humble family in the small state of Arkansas, but his brilliance enabled him to rise above his humble beginnings. He earned a bachelor's degree from Georgetown University, and then went on to Oxford University as a Rhodes Scholar. From Oxford, he went on to Yale University, where he received a degree in law. He practiced law in Arkansas and was a professor of law at Arkansas University until 1976, when he was elected first Attorney General of Arkansas and then governor of the state in 1979. Clinton became a formidable presidential candidate in 1991 and defeated George Bush at the polls. During the Clinton administration, America was called on to keep peace in various parts of the world.
Called on to
At home,
keep
the
peace
economy
in
thrived
various parts of the
for
world.
years, and the American people gave him high ratings for the job he was doing. Clinton's presidency was clouded by the scandals over alleged affairs he had had with various women while governor and president. His indiscretions led to impeachment, but in the impeachment trial, the Senate found the charges insufficient to remove him from office.
Oh no,
W. Bush, the 43rd president,
it's been updated.
in one of the closest and most hotly contested elections in our nation's history. George W. Bush narrowly defeated Vice President Al Gore to become the first president of the 21st century. Gore actually received more popular votes than Bush, having won some of the most populous states, including California and New York. Bush, however, garnered the most electoral votes.
Hey, you know what?
Florida being the key to put him
Fuck the Electoral College.
I hereby declare Governor George W. Bush.
Why do we still have the same system that got us Franklin fucking Pierce? Ugh.
But it didn't end there. Al Gore and his legal team challenged the Florida victory. For more than a month, America waited while the battle played out at the state level, and finally went to the United States Supreme Court. For the first time in American history, a decision of the Supreme Court determined the winner of a presidential election.
While I strongly disagree with the court's decision, I accept it.
The Bush family is the
Wow,
second
look at
in
that.
history to put a father and son in the White House. George W.'s father was the 41st president. The other father-son presidential team was John and John Quincy Adams. The younger Bush came up through the ranks by way of the traditional route. A bachelor's
Having a
degree
rich father who was also president.
and an MBA from Harvard. His stepping stone to the presidency was the position of governor of Texas, which he assumed in 1994 and held until his election to the presidency of the United States.
Whether you voted for me or not, I will do my best to serve your interests, and I will work to earn your respect.
This does make me, even though I don't like the Bush family and their politics for the most part, it still makes me feel bad for Jeb.
President's Trivia Quiz. Which president was a movie
It's a real kick in the teeth to
star?
Jeb,
Ronald
this whole
Reagan.
George W.
He
thing.
starred in about 50 movies
Poor
before
Jeb.
going into politics.
Who was the only Catholic president? John F. Kennedy.
The only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms?
Pixel Grover.
Grover Cleveland. He was the 22nd president and elected again following Harrison as our 24th president.
Which state gave us the most presidents? Virginia. It was home for 8 presidents.
Which university educated the most presidents? Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Can you name 2 U.S. presidents who were West Point graduates? They were Ulysses S. Grant and Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Which president was the first to occupy the White House?
I think that was Adams.
John Adams. Construction of the presidential residence wasn't completed until 1800, after George Washington had left office.
And then the goddamn British burned it down and we had to rebuild it.
Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton.
The only president to resign the office? Richard Nixon.
Finally, the only president never elected by the people.
George W. Bush.
Bill Ford. He was appointed vice president upon the resignation of Spiro Agnew and assumed the presidency when Richard Nixon resigned. He was never voted into either office. And
I think you could make the argument that it also applies to George W. Bush and Donald Trump having not been elected by the people,
But all share
but by
one
the
common
electors.
trait. They all rose to the highest
Incredibly
office.
nonsensical and antiquated system that's not even serving the purpose it was designed for. Anyway, yeah, this has been an hour. This has been 61 minutes. It says approximately 50 on the back, and there was clearly a change in like production. There's clearly a cut at the end there. The copyright date is also 1999, so they added the George W. Bush part on the end to really rile us up here at the end on this. I'm so blurry. This most momentous day, the day before Election Day 2024. Ah, God damn it! Let's all scream. Or, sorry. Let's take a breath. Let's take a breath and think about birds. George Harrison's Backyard Bird Watcher. How to create a wild bird sanctuary as seen on PBS. That was just the facts, American presidents. Hope you enjoyed. A lot of facts. Like, we helped out in Kuwait. We did a really good job. The decisiveness was really key. Backyard Bird Watcher. Where does this come from? This is one I picked up at a thrift store. It's from 1995. I'm glad your mom was able to enjoy most of that with you, Trill. The Backyard Bird Watcher. In this, oh my God, this is exactly what we need. These are some great adjectives to soothe what I'm feeling right now. In this beautiful, bird-filled video, best-selling author George Harrison shows you step-by-step how to create a wild bird sanctuary that will attract the maximum number of birds, quantity over quality, to your backyard throughout the year. Harrison gives you the keys to attracting birds in your backyard by using the right kinds of plants and flowers, birdhouses, bird feeders, and bird baths. Learn how to plan and plant your habitat as Harrison shares his knowledge and reveals all of these things about birds. Also, marvel as a baby chickadee is fed on a branch by its tireless parents. All right, I'm all about this. This is 45 minutes from 1995. The Backyard Bird Watcher. Let's calm ourselves down. Birds. With George Harrison. Not that George Harrison.
Hello. I'm George Harrison, the backyard bird watcher.
Not the other
My
George
greatest
Harrison.
joys is watching the wild birds that live around my home.
I'm the bird George Harrison.
That's why I've designed both my house and its landscaping to maximize up-close and personal viewing of birds.
Oh, God.
I'd like to share with you how you can do the same around your home.
I'm so ready for this beautiful man and his beautiful house.
This program is made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you and by KT Products, providing wild bird food nationwide. For 125
Can you really
years,
dislike a
KT
man who
has
loves
made the well-being
birds?
of birds its prime commitment. KT, caring for birds today and tomorrow.
Looking out my living room window on this typical summer day, I see the lovely patio garden teeming with bird life. In one corner, a female ruby-throated hummingbird darts into the honeysuckle. She draws a long sip of nectar from the orange blossom. Nearby, her mate guards the territory. The sun illuminates the sequin-like feathers on his ruby throat.
I really love this schmaltzy 90s music,
Bright yellow
too.
goldfinches eat hulled sunflower seeds.
Aw.
Another awaits in the spruce tree, not very patiently, for an opening at the feeder. A male rose-breasted grosbeak leans into the pool of water for a drink. When he straightens up, I see that large V-shaped red badge on his pure white breast.
I'm really loving these bird
In the
friends.
catalpa tree beyond the patio, a male
I'm gonna,
cardinal sings his familiar song.
I'm gonna go off camera for a
invading
bit,
his
but I'll be here.
territory and courting his mate.
I want coffee,
Below,
and
a
I want
female
birds.
works diligently building her nest of sticks and rootlets. Suddenly, a flash of yellow catches my eye as a female Baltimore Oriole lands on the sugar water feeder. She flies to the pool for a drink and a bath, and then finds a tree in which to preen. From the bough of a blue spruce, a dapper male chipping sparrow trills his song. Nearby, in the lower branches of a cedar tree, his mate sits on a nest full of light blue eggs. If you would like to have birds like these outside your windows every day of the year, settle back and let me share with you how to develop a wild bird habitat in your backyard, no matter how small it is. It's easy to do, affordable, adds value to your property, and adds enormously to your quality of life. The birds in your backyard will be your daily connection with nature, dazzling you with all their beauty and wonderment. So even if you are starting from a grassy lawn, as I did, you can certainly develop a backyard wildlife habitat for birds. When I began planning the habitat on my half-acre, it looked very much like this. The only vegetation on the property were a few large trees and very few birds. Now, let's take a peek at my backyard as it looks today. Look what has happened. My yard is now a mini woodland full of lovely trees and shrubs and low-growing plants and flowers. It is now an attractive natural habitat, a sanctuary full of lovely wild birds. To have this in your own backyard, all you need to do is furnish the three basic needs of all life on Earth: cover, food, and water. Cover for birds is places to hide from predators, shelter from the weather, and safe places to nest. Food for birds consists of insects, fruit, nectar, nuts, and seeds. And water for birds is for drinking and bathing. Your first step is to draw a simple diagram of your property. Include the house, garage, driveway, lawn, and the limited cover that you already have. The diagram will show you where you have room for cover, food, and water for birds. When planning the cover, visualize your yard as a series of life zones. Like a stadium, the life zones are tiered, from the lowest growing plants and flowers to the canopies of the tallest trees. The goal is to provide cover in as many tiers as possible, because the more life zones available in the habitat, the more birds it will attract. For example, chipping sparrows feed on the ground, nest in shrubs, and sing from small trees. Robins also feed on the ground, but they nest in large shrubs and sing from tall trees. This movement by birds throughout the habitat illustrates how important a variety of cover is to a successful backyard habitat. Now let's take a walk around my house. I'll show you what makes a habitat a delightful microcosm for watching birds. This is an excellent wildlife habitat. We've allowed this corner of the yard to grow wild. Lots of biodiversity here, all the way to the top of these tall trees where the Baltimore Orioles nest, the middle shrubbery where we have chickadees and cardinals and catbirds, and then the song sparrows are into the low area here. But over here, we have landscaping. We've planted these plants specifically for birds. They produce good cover and food for the birds, and at the same time, they're aesthetically lovely. They add a lot to our surroundings. Not only is low-growing cover aesthetically pleasing, but it is essential to birds that live in the life zone closest to the ground, including mourning doves, white-throated sparrows, towhees, and juncos. These plants are the first tier in the habitat and fit nicely along walkways, foundations, and rocky walls. When selecting low-growing shrubs and ground cover, choose plants that grow to different heights and densities. This variety of plants attracts a greater number of ground-dwelling birds into the habitat. Also, for maximum visibility of the birds, I planted this low-growing cover closest to the windows. Of course, the low-growing plants you select, indeed any of the plants chosen for your habitat, should be species that are well adapted to your region of the country and right for the birds. Your local nursery, landscaper, or agricultural extension agent can help you with these choices. Consider incorporating vines into the nooks and crannies of your garden. They fit nicely against walls and into the tight spaces of your habitat. Planting varieties that blossom, like this everbloom honeysuckle, attract hummingbirds drawn to the bright flowers. And the vine's thick green foliage provides good cover for a variety of birds. Watching an iridescent hummer probe deeply with its needle-like bill into such a blossom is a great reward for developing your backyard habitat. Fortunately, no matter where you live in North America, these living jewels are easy to attract during the summer. All you need to do is plant brightly colored flowers and the hummingbirds will appear. Their diet of nectar and insects compels them to inspect every available bloom. They are particularly attracted to those that are orange-colored, like the honeysuckle and trumpet vine, and bright red like this canna, and magenta like this fuchsia. When you plant a garden for hummingbirds, remember to select both annuals and perennials for a continuous display of blooms from spring to fall. Once they find the flowers in your habitat, they will return to the blossoms time and time again, all day long throughout the summer. Their buzzing wings announce their arrival and departure. Flowers of all kinds can enhance your backyard habitat. Birds find the colorful vegetation good cover should they be threatened, and the blossoms produce food for more than just hummingbirds. For example, this female Baltimore oriole finds nectar in the blossoms of these fuchsia. Now let's move on to the next higher tier in your habitat. It includes small trees and large shrubs, such as high bush cranberry and red osier dogwood, for cardinals, blue jays, and catbirds. These shrubs are places to hide and nest, and they also bear fruit for eating throughout the year. The small trees you plant are also an integral part of this tier of the habitat. They include apple, birch, and mountain ash. Chickadees will find such small tree thickets a perfect niche for raising a family. And wrens will take up residence in the apple tree you plant. Robins will nest in small trees and high shrubbery, but then robins will nest almost anywhere, from rain gutters on houses to the highest tree canopies. They also need some lawn from which to get earthworms, so leaving a little grassy lawn in your habitat helps robins. They also scratch for worms and grubs on the floor of your dense cover, especially during dry weather when earthworms live deeper in the lawn. The tallest life zone in your habitat is the canopy of the largest shade trees. Though it'll take some time for these trees to grow tall, it'll be worth the wait because many birds use the canopy for nesting, capturing insects, and singing. The cardinal in the habitat will fly to the highest branch in the tallest tree, singing his lovely courtship song. And the male robin uses the same canopy from which to sing his caroling song. This is the most beautiful music to awaken to on a morning in spring. You'll notice that I've planted the life zones in tiers, like a stadium, so when looking out the window, I can see the entire habitat from the ground up. But the critical thing to remember is that you want to cover all the life zones. You want low-growing plants and flowers, you want shrubs, medium and large, small trees and large trees. You want to cover all those areas, and you also want to have materials that provide food and cover throughout the 4 seasons. As soon as your backyard habitat is established, you will see dramatic results. Even by growing minimal cover, birds will move into the life zones. Come the spring, they'll begin to sing and court, build nests, and raise families because the cover in your habitat will give the birds places to nest. Robins may build their nests of mud and grass in the forks of small trees and large shrubs, like this lilac, where the nest forms a perfect cradle for eggs. Some robins favor apple trees for nesting. Others use evergreen trees. I often wonder how all the nestlings get enough to eat, because the one reaching the highest seems to get the worm. Luckily for me, this pair nested in the shrubbery outside my window, making it easy to see the youngsters. Soon they're ready to leave the nest and take wing, or more likely crash land on their first flight. Large shrubs are also great habitat for catbirds. They love to skulk around in the dense cover where they find food and nesting sites. The catbirds in my habitat constructed their nest deep in the shrubbery and raised 4 healthy youngsters. Every time I peeked into the nest, the parents scolded me with their cat-like meow. But at other times, the male serenaded me with his multitude of melodies that only a catbird can produce. Another bird that seeks small trees and dense shrubbery for nesting is the mourning dove. The bough of a cedar tree is the perfect place to build its fragile nest of twigs. Two pure white eggs are incubated for 13 days before hatching. While most baby birds are cute, mourning dove babies are kind of homely at first, but as they grow and sprout feathers, they gradually take on the beauty of their parents. Nest life is short for baby mourning doves, and 2 weeks after hatching, these youngsters are out of the nest and history to their mother. She's already building another nest for the next brood. Another benefit of tall trees in your backyard habitat is that they may attract a female hummingbird looking for a suitable place to build her tiny cup-like nest. She alone raises the 2 youngsters that hatch from navy bean-size eggs. It may surprise you that a hanging pot of flowers is a favorite nesting site of house finches. These lovely
Holy shit. Hey, Tony Bicchioni here.
often build nests and raise young in the center
I really
of a
love
pot
Tony
of geraniums
Bicchioni.
or impatiens like this one.
I just started watching The Sopranos the other day, so I'm really delighted by over-the-top Italian caricatures.
Another important aspect of any successful backyard wildlife habitat are tree cavities, holes in trees where birds can nest. If you don't have the cavities, you can also put up bird houses like this wren house. There are many kinds of houses, sizes, and so forth. You have to do a little research to find out what kinds of birds you want to attract. But one of the really great joys of having birds nesting in houses like this is you can hear them inside. The babies are calling right now. It's a wonderful sound. 30-some kinds of birds nest in tree cavities. If your backyard habitat has an abundance of dead trees, consider leaving them, as cavity nesting birds will use them. But most people don't save dead trees and instead offer birdhouses. Birdhouses will draw birds into the habitat, but the houses have to be placed in the niche where the birds normally nest in a cavity. For example, chickadees will readily use a birdhouse, but it has to be located in dense cover, such as a thicket of small trees. Wren houses should be placed in more open cover. In my habitat, the wrens use a house and a small apple tree. The very day the male wren arrives back to my habitat from his winter vacation in the tropics, he fills every birdhouse with sticks. His dummy nests keep other wrens from building in the houses. They also give his mate some options for a nesting site. When the female arrives a week or so later, she's escorted on a tour of the housing market of dummy nests. She likes this one and sets about renovating the nest to her liking. It isn't long before there are many little mouths to feed. Definitely a full-time job. Every time I walk past the nesting house, the male wren scolds me. Once the rascal attacked me, pecking me on the head. Bird watching can be dangerous. Everyone would like to have bluebirds nesting in their backyards, but bluebirds require habitat that is totally different from the typical backyard. I am fortunate to live across the road from a farm field, which is ideal habitat for bluebirds. Here they can catch insects and find fruit such as blackberries and raspberries to feed to themselves and their young. I attracted them by mounting several bluebird houses on fence posts at the end of my driveway. Much to my delight, a pair of bluebirds soon appeared. They apparently liked the location and moved in late May. I noticed that bluebirds had the palest blue eggs of all thrushes, much paler than those of robins. But then bluebirds are the only thrushes that nest in cavities, making protective coloration of eggs less important. In recent years, many people across the country have put up bluebird nesting houses, forming what are called bluebird trails. These efforts have helped bluebirds recover from dangerously low population levels. Now, bluebirds are again common in rural areas. If you put up bluebird houses in your habitat, don't be surprised if tree swallows move in, because bluebird houses are just the right size for tree swallows. Yet tree swallows need to be near water, where they can gather aquatic insects, a staple food for them and their young. If your habitat is located on a small lake or stream, as mine is, you can expect to attract tree swallows in your bluebird houses. Do you recognize these beautiful birds? They are purple martins. Contrary to the needs of most backyard birds, purple martins require less cover and a great deal more open habitat in which to catch insects. The ideal location for a purple martin apartment house is on a pole in a grassy field or sizable lawn. Here the birds can get a long sweeping approach to and from the house. If this sounds like your backyard habitat, you may have an opportunity to attract these lovely birds to an apartment house or individual houses in a cluster. Though starting a new martin colony can be hit or miss, if the conditions are right, it's worth a try. The first males, returning to the apartment house from the tropics in springtime, are called the advance guard. The colony arrives a few days or a week later, and then the nesting cycle begins in earnest. Each pair occupies one unit of the apartment house, where they build a nest, lay eggs, and raise their young at about the same time as the other pairs. The colony really gets active when the eggs hatch, and there are dozens, if not scores, of little mouths to feed. Among woodpeckers, flickers are the most apt to nest in a birdhouse. But it must be middle size, somewhere between a bluebird and a wood duck house, and mounted on a tree trunk 8 to 20 feet above the ground. It's also possible to have wood ducks nesting in your backyard habitat if there's water nearby. To get a wood duck's attention, you need to put up at least one duck house on a post or on the trunk of a tree near the water. Wood ducks are marvelous birds to watch in spring as they perch in trees in very unduck-like fashion. They're looking for natural cavities in which to lay eggs, but will accept a large birdhouse designed for them. Once the hen decides, the egg-laying process begins. She deposits one egg per day until the clutch is completed, perhaps as many as 15 eggs. If you put up wood duck houses, be aware that they may attract more than wood ducks. Both screech owls and American kestrels will use wood duck houses to roost and nest. You may not be thrilled to have either predator move into your bird habitat because they subsist on a diet of songbirds and small mammals. But if you love birds like I do, you may be delighted to have both take up residence in your habitat. These kestrels nested in a house built by a neighbor who followed the specifications I gave in one of my books. "It sure worked," he told me. "As soon as I put up the house on a tall pole, the kestrels moved in." Seeing baby falcons like these up close is another prize of a backyard habitat. While the kestrels are out and about hunting during the day, the owls do their hunting at night. Yet during early morning and late afternoon, a screech owl sits in the entrance to the duck house, appearing to be half asleep. But she sees everything, probably eyeing up dinner. It's not surprising that every spring when cleaning out the duck house, I find feathers from cardinals, downy woodpeckers, and robins. In fact, the first robin of spring one year was not on the wing, but inside the duck house. The remains of a screech owl's dinner. Let's talk about food for birds and how you can make it available in your backyard habitat. The same lush cover that attracts birds to habitats is also home to a vast army of insects in all stages of life, from eggs to larvae to adults. These insects are the principal food for virtually all neotropical birds, those spending their winters in the tropics and their summers in our backyard habitats. The cover produces the insects, which draws birds such as this red-eyed vireo and blue-gray gnatcatcher. These birds do not eat from feeders, but they do eat from the abundance of insects in the vegetation.
Oh, those are bugs.
This enormous food supply is especially important to parent birds.
It's definitely a lot of
must
insects.
gather insects and feed them to nestlings. When there are baby birds to feed, the backyard habitat is teeming with activity. Parent birds are scouring the cover for insects to satisfy the insatiable appetites of hatchlings. To keep the broods of wrens fed, the parents carry insects to the house every few minutes. Just imagine the number of insects these hungry babies consume in just one day. Yet there seems to be such an abundance of insects in the habitat that the wrens have little trouble finding the next meal in the immediate vicinity of the nesting house. Nearby at the bluebird house, it's much the same. Bluebird parents catch insects for their young in the grassy fields across the road by snagging prey on the wing. Both parents feed the nestlings small insects at first, but as the youngsters grow, so
Oh,
do
I
the
love
size of the
Wiggles.
insects.
He's like a little shrimp.
In a few days, the baby bluebirds begin to grow dark downy feathers, and then quills appear on their wings. When I peek into their house to check the progress of these little guys, it's the highlight of my day.
Baby birds are so weird and yet somehow so adorable. They're just so
Tree
helpless.
swallows catch food for their young by swooping down over the lake and, like bats, snag aquatic insects in flight. Then back to the nesting house where they cram the fresh-caught food into their young. When young chickadees fledge, the parents are busier than ever catching insects for their youngsters, who are now scattered all over the habitat. No wonder
Sometimes it
adult
really
chickadees look
sucks at
so worn
hybrids.
out at the end of the nesting season. Perhaps the most consistent insect diet is fed to young purple martins. Their parents constantly course back and forth over farm fields and broad grassy lawns, swooping here and there for flying insects. These are perfect snacks for wee martins back at the apartment house. Insects are not the only natural food grown in a successful backyard habitat. The best cover plants are those that also bear fruit, nuts, seeds, and nectar. For example, high bush cranberry, serviceberry, mountain ash, and holly are good cover plants that also yield berries relished by mockingbirds and cardinals. Robins, caught in a late spring snowstorm, may depend on these kinds of long-lasting fruits for their survival.
We've been learning all about birds.
It's also a good idea to encourage the growth of food-bearing plants in a part
They were talking about bluebird habitat earlier.
allowed to grow wild. In the wild
And
part
how
of my
persnickety
habitat,
bluebirds are about
goldfinch finds
their
thistle
habitat.
seeds, but they have to wait until midsummer for thistle to mature, so that they can use the fibers to build their nests and the seeds to feed their young. The seeds of many garden flowers are nourishing additions to wild bird diets. Among the best are members of the sunflower family. Sunflower seeds are eaten by at least 42 bird species. Some can't even wait until the seeds mature, so when selecting flowers for your garden, keep the birds in mind. We've created this natural habitat with lots of cover and natural food. We've also added bird feeders. The feeders bring the birds out of the cover, close to the house, close to the windows, where we can enjoy them. No matter how many food-producing plants are growing in your habitat, there is always a great advantage to giving birds supplemental food in feeders. Feeders are the jewels in the crown of the habitat. They pull the birds out of the cover and up close for quality viewing. Feeders placed in cover but close to windows give you the pleasure of watching birds all year long. You should offer a variety of feeders containing several different kinds of foods. Please don't make the mistake of putting the feeders in the middle of an open space. Place them in cover, but close enough to windows to give a marvelous view of as many kinds of birds as possible. And feed the birds year-round, as I do, so that you can enjoy them close up throughout the 4 seasons. In summer, you can watch hummingbirds and orioles drink sugar water from feeders. Goldfinches eat hulled sunflower seeds from hanging feeders. Cardinals and rose-breasted grosbeaks are also drawn out of the cover to feeders, as well as blue jays. And woodpeckers load up on beef soot at feeders on tree trunks and at other feeders where they eat sunflower seeds. In winter, you'll enjoy seeing the northern invaders, such as this flock of evening grosbeaks. They'll entertain you as long as you have enough sunflower seeds for them. Perhaps the most fascinating are hummingbirds. Would you believe that they remember where the feeders were hanging the previous summer? When the first bird returns from the tropics in springtime, it hovers in the exact spot where the feeder hung last summer. It looks through my window as if announcing, "Hey, I'm here. Where's the feeder? I'm hungry after that long flight." Each feeder contains a mixture of 1 part sugar to 4 parts water. Red dye really isn't necessary to catch the hummer's attention, particularly if the feeder has red on it. By hanging the feeder near the flowers they like, the birds find the sweet water quickly. After the hummers get used to sipping from the feeder, you can move it up close to the windows for maximum viewing. From here, watch the hummers' extraordinary maneuverability as they fly forward and backward, up and down, left and right, and hover motionless at the feeder. From full speed, they can stop on a dime. Notice that the females and juveniles have emerald green backs and are white below. If you live in the east, you'll see only the ruby-throated. In the west,
Yep, that's exactly what I wanted.
Birds may visit your feeders and flowers. During late summer, young and old hummingbirds alike feed heavily in preparation for their long migration flight to the tropics, which may include a 500-mile non-stop flight across the Gulf of Mexico. An important part of an integrated natural habitat is water, preferably moving water, water that makes noise, splashing noise. We have this pond here, and then we have another one in the back that cascades. The moving water acts as a magnet to birds. The sight and sound of moving water give me a feeling of tranquility and contentment. The same may be true of birds, as water draws many birds to my habitat that might not otherwise spend any time here at all. Many that come to water neither eat from feeders nor nest in birdhouses. They come just for the water. Both of my bird baths are located near windows because I don't want to miss anything. There's always something interesting going on at the water. Both were custom made with mortar and stones. The bath at the edge of the patio was poured into 3 sheet metal forms and then stacked into 3 pools. A small pump lifts water to the top pool, then it spills into the middle pool and downward to the bottom. This bath has a small pool at the top which spills into rivulets that cascade into the bottom. But your bird bath doesn't have to be as elaborate as mine to satisfy birds. They'll drink and bathe in a simple bird bath on a pedestal, or a decorative dish hanging in the garden. Even a garbage can lid placed upside down on the ground and filled with water will bring in the birds. Some birds that stop at the bath are bonus birds, migrants that are just passing through the habitat. But the most consistent bathers are the summer residents, those nesting and raising young in the natural cover of the habitat. Like this chickadee, she takes a few seconds from her busy day of feeding fledglings to take a bath. Her dip is not for pleasure, though it undoubtedly feels good. She bathes by necessity, for she has to care for her feathers. She depends on healthy feathers to fly. Robins appear at the water every few minutes. It seems they need to drink and bathe more than other birds. Almost daily in summer, a male yellow warbler comes to the bath and throws water all over the patio as he douses himself. Then he's off to a nearby shrub to dry and preen his bright yellow feathers. A blue jay appears at the bath frequently. His bright blue feathers turn black as they become wet. Goldfinches are regular visitors, and so is a female oriole. And the chipping sparrows, nesting in the cedar, they spend time at the bath every day. Birds require water. If you provide it in your habitat, the birds will use it. If you place it near your windows, the water will give you an exciting, unique dimension in backyard birdwatching. If you invest the effort to create your own backyard habitat today, you can look out your window and see something exciting happening there every day for a lifetime. The world outside your window will be a kaleidoscope of nature with all the drama, beauty, and fulfillment of life itself. For birds are among the most exciting creatures on earth. They will
Wonder why that ghost isn't going through, Bella.
Naturally,
I wonder.
every day throughout the 4 seasons.
I do the same thing. It's fine.
To make your backyard more attractive to birds. Remember, bird watching is not just a sometime thing. When you have all the right ingredients for a successful backyard habitat, the birds will come, minute by minute, hour by hour, throughout the 4 seasons. This is George Harrison, the Backyard Bird Watcher.
Oh, George, thank you. Ooh, more MIDI oboe. That was from 1995, Connecticut Public Television. George H. Harrison.
This is PBS.
That was PBS. What did y'all think of the Backyard Birdwatcher? Was it what you needed in this moment? I hope you enjoyed it. There were 2 pair there, I think, but that's fine. Hey, Jess, thank you for the 1,000 bits for song. Let's have a little musical intermission. What are we thinking? Do we have a bird song? There is Goose Patrol. I leave it to Jess, though. There are a number of choices. I have a couple of tapes picked out for to finish this stream. After we have our little musical interlude here. I hope you like Meryl Streep and MLMs. Sadly, not in the same tape, but, you know. The consensus seems to be Goose Patrol. Are you okay with that, Jess, or you want something else? There is going to be a Streep. I don't think you will hear a Streep, at least. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you again, Jess, for your support. Let's enjoy Goose Patrol.
With Mother Goose occupied incubating her eggs and watching the muskrat, Father Goose goes on the Goose Patrol.
Hey, thank you, Green Day. Oh, that's beautiful. This was a bird tape. Oh, God. This was a bird tape that just went incredibly hard.
What's all this commotion? It's another gander near the island with the big dead tree. Chances are there's another nest on the island. There's the goose sitting on her nest right next to the trunk of the big dead tree. Goose nests are not difficult to locate once the gander is spotted. When a goose stands its ground and is noisy and threatening, look carefully. There's a good chance that there is a nest nearby.
That was Goose Patrol. Thank you, seemingly, Jess. And
Sure.
now, courtesy
Let's
of Green
take a
Day,
look at some of
America's Heroes.
They lived and breathed the American spirit.
American heroes like
Seasons come and seasons go.
maybe like a third of the presidents.
Heroes will live forever. When times get rough, all the memories of America's heroes will pull us through together.
I don't know if the story of Paul Revere is really going to inspire me at this moment in history.
Riding through the streets of town. Never a thought of turning
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for the reminder.
His country down. General George Washington had to win if the country was to grow.
Congrats on winning bingo points to Toast Grandchild.
And he won the day, our first president, we all know. Seasons come and seasons go, but America's heroes will live forever. When times get rough, all the memories of America's heroes will pull us through together. Davy Crockett on the wild frontier, pushing America west.
But just keep dancing. We'll all be fine.
407 years ago,
If I just keep dancing, America will be fine.
Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Seasons come, seasons go, but America's heroes will live forever. When times get rough, all the memories of America's heroes will pull us through together.
Hooray! Desecrating the sacred Black Hills.
Pull us through together.
Well, kids, is there anything else you'd like to know about American history?
Yeah, who are the pioneers?
Not today. Thank you very much, Green Day, for thinking of us, the Americans, in this very trying time. We're going to pull through, no matter what, people. We're going to do it. We'll get there. We'll get there. Till justice flows down like water. Let's check out a tape. Hey, speaking of doubt, great movie starring Meryl Streep. It's time for Meryl Streep in The Velveteen Rabbit. This is a cartoon. It's only 25 minutes long. I don't know anything about it, but I assume it will be heartwarming and mood-lifting. This is Marjorie Williams' The Velveteen Rabbit, narrated by Meryl Streep, music by George Winston, illustrated by David Jorgensen, produced by Rabbit Ears Productions and Random House Home Video. Marjorie Williams' enchanting story about a toy rabbit, first published in 1922, will live forever in the annals of children's literature. This looking-glass video cassette brings her beloved tale to today's children in a new and exciting way, with Meryl Streep's unforgettable narration, George Winston's beautiful musical score, and David Jorgensen's charming illustrations. Here is The Velveteen Rabbit for all ages to share and enjoy. I have heard people say this. I've never heard, I don't know this story. Why don't we want Velveteen Rabbit? Okay. Does the Velveteen Rabbit get institutionalized? Okay, all right. Well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I'm getting a lot of pushback from the audience on this one, so we will watch this at some point. Maybe is a Saturday better for this kind of thing for y'all? I like sad stories. That's the thing. Like that kind of catharsis is something I really find valuable. Like, even if something is sad, it makes you feel something. It makes you feel a mix of emotions. But yeah, if that's not the time for a vocal portion of you, that's okay. What about something short that we haven't watched yet? Let's see. I also have BeautiControl self-study video series, Color, Image, and Career. It's a cosmetic MLM from 1993. That seems like a good one. Let's see. Emotions and Cancer? No. What is this? This is only 9 minutes? Where is this on the shelf? Scholastic at-home phonics reading program, getting started. Running time 8 minutes and 26 seconds. Let's get that one off the shelf. All right. Yeah, we do still have a bunch of old tapes that, like, I don't know. I will accept some shipments of tapes soonish. We have plenty, but we could use probably an injection of, like, new interesting things. Let's talk about that on Discord later. Scholastic at-home phonics reading program, getting started, a how-to video for parents. Start with the Scholastic at-home phonics reading program. Finish with successful readers. Presented by reading and curriculum specialist Francie Alexander. Learning to read is a complex process, and phonics plays a critical role. So do parents. This video will show how phonics skills and reading practice are key to children's success in learning to read. You're getting this instead of the Velveteen Rabbit. Please enjoy.
Welcome to the Scholastic at Home Phonics Reading Program. With this program, you and your child are about to share the excitement of learning to read. The Scholastic at Home Phonics Reading Program is designed to complement the phonics skills your child learns in school.
That is some music.
For 80 years, we have been educating America's
shit, I'm getting flashbacks to the book fair.
clubs, classroom magazines, and instructional
the book fair
materials. Hi, my name is Francie Alexander. As a reading and curriculum specialist for Scholastic, I'm delighted to introduce this program to you. First, let me congratulate you on making this commitment. You have already started your child towards success as a reader by talking together and by reading to and with your child. These activities provide an environment for learning phonics. They also create the desire to read.
Can you read this page to Daddy?
Yes. See the cat?
During the months ahead, the materials in the Scholastic at Home Phonics Reading Program will introduce the 44 most commonly used sound spellings of the English language, as illustrated in the sound chart in your first package. Over the course
I
of the
learned to
program,
read English
your child will
as a
develop
child,
the ability to blend individual sounds, to read
so I've
words,
been there.
and to memorize high
But
frequency
geez, I do not envy children that have to learn English.
and.
I see a
Because English spelling and orthography make
You
no
don't
sense
have
at
to
all.
be an expert to support your child's reading development. The Scholastic at Home Phonics Reading Program provides
Like learning it as a second language seems incredibly difficult.
This program is uniquely designed to build skills month by month in cumulative sequence, but it also allows you to proceed at your child's own pace.
Like mad respect for anybody who
Best of all,
learns to
simply by
communicate in
getting
English as a
involved,
second language.
You're showing your child that you care deeply about reading success.
Oh my god, the puppy posters.
If it's important to you, it will be important to your child.
What's he doing there?
Once you get started, you'll discover that the Scholastic at Home Phonics Reading Program is easy to use and a wonderful experience for you and for your child. Here's what you receive in the package every month: 3 phonics readers, a workbook, an audio cassette, a phonics game, and a parent teaching tips card. You might want to begin by looking over the teaching tips card. It was developed to answer questions parents often ask about reading and phonics, and it has helpful advice for using the other materials in the package. After
Rover.
reviewing the card, you're ready to sit down with your child and open one of the readers. These books have been specially designed to develop reading skills step by step.
Great. Now how about reading the whole sentence again?
Is the tot in the pot?
Each of the books reinforces the sounds that are being taught. You'll be building a wonderful collection of children's literature by well-known authors and illustrators. Your child will look forward to this rich variety
Did we get to read The
facts,
Velveteen Rabbit?
joke books, folk and fairy tales, fiction and nonfiction. Let's take a look at how you might get started. We have a new book to read. What do you think the story is going to be about?
3 animals who want the same hat.
If you notice, when I was reading with Luke, I had him predict what the story would be about. Then I checked to see that he was focused on the phonics skills that we would be practicing. Can you tell me the sound that letter makes?
La.
And what about that letter?
Ta.
And what about these 2 letters together?
At.
I use 2 techniques when helping children learn to read. One is the phonics strategy of blending. When we came to the word mat and Luke had trouble with it, we looked for the parts that we knew and we read the word through by sounding it out.
I am at the
That was a good start. Let's go back and look at this little word. Can you read that for me again?
at.
Now, let's make the sound for this letter just like you did, and the sound for the small word. Blend them together to read the whole word. Another technique that I use is to remind the child that some words are tricky or lookout words, and those are best learned by remembering. This is a tricky word. You're just going to have to
I took to reading pretty easily as a kid.
Really hard. Sort of take a picture. That's like.
And I had a lot, like my mom was really into early childhood literacy and stuff.
And a lot of encouragement will go a long way with your child.
And I remember like having friends that struggled with reading, and like the immense shame
Now, let's take a closer look at the workbooks
of
and how they relate to
not
the reader.
picking it up quickly.
workbook
Like I
allows
felt like
your
I
child
was
to make
like
the reading
narrowly
writing
escaping this horrible
practice. Wow,
horrible
that was just
fate
like the one in the book.
of
Let's try another one.
not being able to
Once
read.
you've been working with Scholastic's program, your child will be able to do the workbook activities mostly independently. Let's do the first one together and then you try to do the rest by yourself. We use the same directions over and over again. The workbook also includes a test yourself section, which gives you an opportunity to see how well your child is learning the material. When you review your child's work and there's a mistake, remember that mistakes are a great teaching and learning opportunity. Help your child to correct the work by naming the picture or helping them to understand the sound that was the phonics focus, and then let your child correct it independently. Want to fix it?
Mm-hmm.
The audio cassette is also coordinated with the phonics readers and the workbook. It is a part of the program that your child can enjoy independently. The cassette gives your child an extra chance to hear the books read aloud while following along.
Hi, I am a rat.
Also on the cassette are fun activities that reinforce
I do like the
phonics
Fisher-Price
elements in
Walkman.
each package.
3.
Hooray,
Each
phonics
month
game.
contains a phonics game. The first game uses the flashcards that are also included in this package.
Every child loves
Games
playing
provide
games.
An ideal opportunity for a brother or
about
sister
phonics.
to get involved.
I won.
As you refer to your tip card, you'll find other ideas for reinforcing each month's learning. Some of them your child can do alone. Others you can do together on a car trip,
Y'all remember
a
Book
bus
It?
ride, even while cooking.
You got a personal pan pizza for reading books?
Try turning meal preparation
That
into
was
a mini
great.
phonics lesson.
Great. Let's see if
We
we
just
can
need to
find
bring
a
that
sound on
back.
the table that starts with that same sound.
Soon your child will be identifying S sounds everywhere.
Pizza is a serious incentive for children.
Over there.
Salt. Good example.
Of course, you're going to find as you go along just how the Scholastic at Home Phonics reading program works best for you.
I see.
I encourage you to set a regular time and place to share the reading materials with your child. I also want you to know that sometimes children get discouraged. It's a natural part of the process. I like to compare it to learning to ride a bike. Sometimes you
Why does
fall,
that little girl have a curio cabinet in
get
her
back
bedroom?
on, and try again. Soon you're making progress and you feel terrific.
Did it. See, I'm so proud of you.
So congratulations
What
again
kid needs
on
curios?
making this commitment to your child's reading success. And remember, your love and support are the most important reading materials of all.
Start with the, all right, yeah, cool. Well, that was the Scholastic at-Home Phonics Reading Program. A nice little 10-minute slice of parenting and education in 1998. Quick little palate cleanser before we get to our next and final tape, which is not the Velveteen Rabbit. It will be a tape that I found at a thrift store for BeautiControl, the self-study video series, volume number 4, Color, Image, and Career. It offers you a review of the basics of color theory, how to perform color analysis, basic step-by-step makeup application tips, how to use our exclusive image services and innovative image tools, and how to share the BeautiControl earning opportunity with others, such as your friends and family. Remember to use your self-study guide as you watch, and keep your consultant guide handy as a quick reference. Copyright BeautiControl Cosmetics, the world's premier skincare and image company. 1993. There is... Y'all vetoed Meryl Streep. I hope you're happy with yourselves. This is a very tight squeeze in here. Yeah. Because it comes with a pamphlet that's quite thick. Ooh. I can't... I'm sorry. Why would they put Macrovision copy protection on the MLM tape? I guess because they want you to buy in and pay $200 for your starter kit or whatever that includes the tape. All right. Let's. We can follow along in the self-study guide as we go, but I think this one's going to be mostly vibes. It's just I'm intrigued by the prospect of 1993 MLM. So let's check it out. BeautiControl self-study video series, Color, Image, and Career. Fuck you, Macrovision. You're no match for my capture device. I think.
By now, I hope you've discovered how enjoyable and gratifying it is to be a BeautiControl consultant. On this tape, we'll review color analysis, makeup application, and our unique image tools.
Oh, she is from Dallas.
You'll also learn more about how BeautiControl can help make your dreams come true. You know, BeautiControl was the first company to offer free color analysis to help our clients select their very best makeup colors. Our consultants have color analyzed millions of women. That's more than any company in the world.
Binders and binders of women.
Our method of color analysis is the most accurate and easiest available anywhere today.
Please be aware that because we cannot control the color quality of your television monitor, the colors you see in this video may not be accurate. This video segment is intended for your review and not to teach you color analysis.
It just said on the back of the box it's going to teach us color analysis. Okay.
That we can put together their makeup, and through learning about the color analysis, they learn which colors are going to look good on them every day.
Color analysis makes a big difference. Many, many women to this day, even though it's been around now for quite some time, don't know what their best colors are.
It's hard to imagine
this is
life
some
without
very
color. It's all around us.
heavily applied early 90s
whether
makeup.
we know it or not. Some combinations of color are more pleasing than others. They just feel right. For instance, when you look at this person, you probably think she looks great. You won't specifically attribute that to color. But let's look at the same person in different colors. She's still attractive, but you may feel that she doesn't look as good, not quite as pulled together. Your feelings are being affected by what we call color harmony. And you can use color analysis to help women unravel the secrets of color harmony and look their best. Color analysis enables you to identify the cosmetic and clothing colors that harmonize best.
I don't know how much commentary I'm going to have to add to this one, but I absolutely fucking love this.
Trial and error for them. Your clients.
It's got everything I want.
Their drawer full of cosmetic colors that didn't
It's just
work.
very 1993, and I'm here
Right
for it.
colors can make a big difference. In this comparison, you can see how the right colors make her look healthier, her eyes more vibrant, and her hair brighter. Color analysis is based on scientific color theory, which identifies two spectrums of color, cool and warm.
Two spectra? That's not how that works. All right. I love
Cool
this.
colors harmonize with blue. Research has shown that the coloring of people can also be classified as cool and warm. Color analysis identifies 4 basic color categories we call seasons. These groups are based on whether a person's coloring is cool or warm, and soft or strong. There are 3 steps to color analysis. The first involves asking yourself a few questions. The second, using your indicator drapes. And the third, draping your client with the seasonal drapes. To begin, ask yourself 3 questions. 1, is her coloring dark and strong? Or 2, is her coloring light and soft? And 3, does she have natural red hair? These questions will give you a good idea of someone's season before you even drape her. A person who is dark and strong has dark hair and probably deep eye color. She also has significant contrast in her hair, eyes, and skin. This makes her a cool winter or a warm autumn. A woman who is light and soft, meaning she has light-colored hair, eyes, and skin, is a cool summer or a warm spring. Here are some more examples of color seasons. This woman is cool. She's a winter. Her hair is black, her eyes are brown, and her skin tone is dark. The overall effect is dark and strong. Here's another winter. She has brown hair, bright blue eyes, and a light complexion. But the overall effect is still dark and strong. This woman has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a pale complexion. The effect here is light and soft. She's a summer. Anytime you see a natural redhead, you know she's warm. The next thing you do is look to see if she's got the strong coloring of an autumn or the softer coloring of a spring. Her bright red hair in strong contrast with her complexion tells us she's an autumn. This woman has strawberry blonde hair and light green eyes. Notice that there's very little contrast between her hair color and skin. Overall, her coloring is light and soft. She's a spring. And here we have a woman with medium brown hair, blue eyes, and a pale complexion. What season do you think she is? Can't tell? She's actually a summer, but to know that for sure, you'd have to drape her. So, step 1 is determining whether your client is dark and strong or light and soft, and whether she has natural red hair. Even if you're sure of your client's color season at this point, you still need to drape her so she can see for herself what her best colors are. Once you get the hang of it, color analysis should take no more than 3 or 4 minutes per client. Step 2 of color analysis is to drape your client with indicator colors. You have 20 color drapes to work with. The first 4 drapes are indicator drapes. These colors may not necessarily be your client's best colors, but they will show whether your client's coloring is cool or warm. The next 8 drapes are cool, alternating 4 winter drapes with 4 summer drapes. The last 8 drapes are warm, with alternating autumn and spring drapes. Before you begin, make sure your client has removed her makeup and her earrings. Next, pin your drapes on the right side of the capelet. Position your lighted mirror so that both you and your client can see her face. This way, while you're draping, you can both see how the colors affect her facial features. You'll begin by comparing the cool white indicator drape with the warm wheat drape. See how the white drape makes her skin look clearer, her eyes brighter, and her teeth whiter? The wheat color makes her skin look sallow and intensifies shadows under her eyes. The magenta indicator drape makes her cheeks look rosier and her complexion looks healthier. The orange color makes her skin look yellow. That's a good indication that she's cool. So because this client looks best in white and magenta, we know she's cool. Now comes step 3 of color analysis, determining her color season.
I love these sound bites out
Does
of
she look
context.
better in the dark and strong colors of winter, or the light and soft colors of summer? As you drape to confirm your client's color season, look to see if the fabric color balances with her skin, hair, and eye color. To do this, focus on her eyes in the mirror and you'll get an overall impression of balance or the lack of it. Also, in a clinic with guest watching, be sure to ask your client to look up at them and smile as you drape so that they can see the differences too. Move through the seasonal drapes quickly, but not so fast that your client can't see the difference herself. If the color is too light, your dark, strong clients will appear pale and washed out. Their skin, hair, and eyes may look dull. The lighter colors do not balance with the dark.
BeautiControl was founded by Dick and Ginger Heath. In 2001, it was purchased by Tupperware.
She's definitely a winter.
Oh my God.
On the other hand, dark colors will overpower your light, soft
It's
client.
Ginger with a J.
Your eye will be drawn to the color, not her face. When there's balance, your attention will be drawn to her face. Her hair, skin, and eyes will also look brighter and clearer.
Dick and
Although
Ginger.
the steps to color analysis are the same, everyone has their own style. Let's hear how this consultant handles it.
You know, other companies offer color analysis, but BeautiControl is the only company that actually drapes fabrics in front of your face to determine your color season. This is a pure white, which is a cool color indicator.
It's pretty.
Oh, it is pretty against your face. It harmonizes well with your dark hair coloring. This is a warm color indicator, wheat. It tends to make your skin look yellow, a little sallow.
Yeah.
It's not as flattering as the cool color. This is magenta, which is a cool color.
That's pretty.
That is beautiful.
Yes.
It really brings out the rosiness in your cheeks.
Yes.
It enhances your complexion. It's so pretty against you. This is orange, which is a warm indicator. Oh, and it tends to bring out lines around your eyes. It just really doesn't do anything for you, whereas this cool color is beautiful.
Big difference.
Oh, it is. It harmonizes so well with your dark hair coloring.
I like it.
You're definitely cool. Now, let's determine your color season.
Yeah, the Avon Beauty Vision
winter, which
computer.
has
There was an
bold,
LGR
bright
video
colors
about
like
that
this winter
several years
red.
ago.
Isn't that pretty?
That's gorgeous.
I was just watching
And that looks
last night
beautiful.
his
Balances so
most recent
nicely
update
with your
video
natural
about his
complexion.
house getting
I like that a lot. Summer,
obliterated
which is
by
the sister season to
the
winter,
hurricane.
has soft, light colors. This is a carnation.
And that computer was
And that is
damaged
very flattering.
by the
It
water.
looks very pretty against your skin. But I do think that these bold, bright colors enhance your complexion even a little bit more.
Yes.
This is icy purple.
Wow. I love this one. That's gorgeous.
Oh, that's beautiful. It really brings out your white teeth, makes your smile look so bright. This is dusty purple, which is summer, softer and lighter in color. And it is flattering to you. You could perhaps do a blouse in this and then maybe go back to a jacket with this icy purple.
Yeah.
Next is our vibrant blue, which again is a cool winter.
No, I like that one.
Look how it brings out the blueness in your eyes. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's beautiful.
Do you have any of these colors in your wardrobe already?
A little, but I think I should get some more.
This is lovely. This is
yes,
so pretty.
I definitely like that one.
This is summer's officer's blue. And again, that's a good accent color for you. You're definitely a winter.
Definitely.
Sorry, I love this tape. I'm
This
just
is
kind of zoning out.
another winter indicator, or burgundy.
pretty.
Isn't that pretty against
I
your
don't think
skin?
we know how long this
Look how
one
it brings
is.
out the white teeth and your smile just looks so bright. Again, this balances so
Yeah,
nicely
but,
with your natural skin
enjoy it.
coloring. This is a dusty rose, which is a softer summer color. It's flattering, but the
That's
winter
better.
colors are so much
Yes.
more flattering.
Yes.
It's just lovely on you.
I agree.
You're definitely a winter. The fun thing about knowing that you're winter is that then you'll be able to make some smart choices when shopping. BeautiControl offers this color book. We have these color swatches in here,
Wow, that's neat.
which is real handy to take. I take it in my purse all the time, and then if I'm just happen to be out shopping, I can choose the clothes that definitely look the best on me. There's even a wider range of colors in here than I've just shown you by the draping.
Yeah.
But I think you'll find that you'll really enjoy having this
It's handy.
book. It is very, very handy.
You may feel awkward the first few times you color analyze someone, but let me assure you, it gets easier. You'll feel like a pro in no time. When you're draping at a clinic, it's important to include the other guest, not by asking for their opinions, but by telling them what you want them to see. For instance, you might say, "See how her eyes sparkle with this color?" Or you might say, "See how this color makes her teeth look whiter?" And remember, you're not there to teach color analysis. It's a service you provide your clients to determine their best colors and help you sell our color-coded cosmetics.
There's more information on color analysis in your consultant guide.
Oh, I really want the consultant guide now.
BeautiControl's cosmetics are color-coded and clinically pure. With our special formulations and extensive selection of shades, we offer the finest color products available anywhere at any price. They're fragrance-free, dermatologist, sensitivity, and allergy tested. Foundations, blush, and powders are non-comedogenic, which means they won't clog pores. Eye products have been ophthalmologist tested as safe for sensitive eyes and contact lens wearers. The key to natural-looking makeup is your choice of colors, your application technique, and your blending techniques. Wearing makeup colors that do not harmonize with your natural coloring can result in makeup that sticks out like a sore thumb. With color analysis and our color-coded cosmetics, choosing the best colors is easy. The key word to remember is blending. If you choose the right colors but don't blend them, your makeup can still end up looking harsh and artificial. When your clients apply the correct cosmetic colors using the techniques you are about to learn, they will love the way they look. And when they love the way they look, they will buy your products.
Their number one fear is that they're going to look like a painted lady when they're done, and they don't.
They're excited once they know, what the cosmetics and the colors can do for them.
The following demonstration is a quick and easy makeup application routine you'll teach your clients at their first clinic or consultation. You'll begin with Extra Help Concealer. It's great for camouflaging circles under the eyes and any other imperfections you may want to cover. Dot it on gently and pat with your ring finger to blend. Our next product is Sheer Protection Foundation. BeautiControl provides two formulas, cream for dry to combination skin and oil-free liquid for combination to oily skin. Both provide excellent coverage and will not clog pores. Apply with a dry makeup sponge. Choose a shade that is closest to your natural skin tone, and always test the color near the jawline and not the back of your hand. Dot onto forehead, cheeks, and chin. Blend well, especially along the hairline and jawline. Remember, the purpose of foundation is to even out skin tones, not to change the color of your skin. Next, you'll apply Shadow Control Cream to cover any eyelid discolorations and help shadow glide on evenly and blend perfectly. Shadow Control keeps your eyeshadow from creasing and streaking as the day wears on. Squeeze a small amount on your fingertip, then blend it over your entire eyelid from lashes to brow. At this point, you'll apply loose translucent powder. Dust lightly all over your face to set your foundation. Next is our unbelievable blush with Silken Spheres. Our trademark Silken Spheres help color apply more smoothly and blend more easily. Placement of blush and blending are very important. Using circular motions, apply color on top of the cheekbone, beginning below the center of the eye and sweeping up over the temple. Be sure to include the corner of the eye and extend the color into the hairline. Do not apply blush color below an imaginary line extending across from the bottom of your nose. Blend upward and soften the edges of your blush with your makeup sponge. This is very important if you want to have subtle, natural-looking blush. Next, you use eye-defining pencil to line your eyes. This will make them look brighter and clearer too. Keep your line close to the lashes, working in from the outer corner. Using a Q-tip, gently smudge the outer edge of your pencil line to soften it without removing all the color. See what a difference smudging your liner makes? BeautiControl's sensuous shadows with silken spheres are next. You begin by applying the lightest color all over your lid from lashes to brow. Next, with a darker color, accent the outer half of the eye in the shape of a wedge and blend it up toward the brow. Finish by lightly blending all over with your makeup sponge. See the difference? Our Silken Spheres formula and blending techniques help even a makeup novice achieve a professional, well-blended look. Well-groomed brows add balance to your face. Eyebrows should begin no further than an imaginary line extending up along the side of your nose. They should extend no further than a line extending from the tip of your nose past the corner of your eye. Use eye-defining pencil to fill out and perfect the natural shape of your brows. Choose a pencil shade that's the same color as your brows or one shade lighter. Use short, feathery strokes to make hair-like lines. Brush through lightly to soften. See the difference brow pencil makes? Next, we'll really open up the eyes with Spectaculash. This terrific lengthening and thickening mascara is available in 2 formulas, waterproof and water-resistant. For daily wear, we recommend using an eyelash curler and then applying 2 coats of Spectaculash to upper and lower lashes. You'll use disposable mascara wands to apply this at your consultations and clinics. See the difference mascara makes? Next is Lip Shaping Pencil. This is a product that women often skip, yet it's worth a few extra seconds to make the shape of your lips look better and help your lip color last longer. To apply, draw along your lip line. Don't try to draw one continuous line. Then, fill in your entire lip area and your lip color will last through anything. The finishing touch is BeautiControl's Lasting Lip Color. Test prove that the colors stay true and last up to 6 full hours.
Thank you, Will.
Disposable lip brushes to apply lip color at
Forgot how loud I made that.
clinics. Be sure your lip color covers your lip liner so that it doesn't show at all. Wow, what a difference color makes! And it doesn't take an hour to look this great. Your entire makeup routine shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. BeautiControl offers some additional makeup products you can offer at follow-up consultations. Color Perfectors are lightly tinted oil-free liquids that minimize excess color in surface skin tones. They improve your makeup coverage without creating a heavy, made-up look. Mauve minimizes sallowness and enlivens a pale complexion. Mint tones down excess redness in ruddy complexions. Mauve and mint can be used by all color seasons. Lilac is for olive-complected winters who want to minimize an excess of green tones in their skin. Color Perfector is applied before foundation and will not change the foundation shade you normally use. Lip Control Cream conditions the lips and prepares them for lip color, helping lip color wear longer without bleeding. Brow Control Cream is like mousse for your brows. It helps keep your brows in place all day and helps applied brow color last longer too. Apply a small amount to your brow brush and brush through brows. Brushing brows upward will open up your eye area. Brow Control dries clear in just seconds. See what a difference Brow Control makes? You'll want our oil-free, oil-absorbing, translucent pressed powder to carry in your purse for touch-ups. Or you may choose to use our unique Face Feminizer pressed powder, available in either pink or peach. Face Feminizer pressed powder is oil-free, and it actually deflects light to soften the appearance of lines and wrinkles. The soft, sheer color also perks up a tired or sallow complexion. BeautiControl provides samples of color products that we call Dose of Color. They provide actual product on paper or in foil packets, so your clients can experience the same formula, shade, and application results as the full-size products they'll buy. Give samples to anyone who can't book a clinic but would like to try our products before they buy them. You can also use Dose of Color instead of full-size products at your clinics, or add them to reorders to promote additional shades to your clients for future sales. Now, here are 10 common makeup mistakes you want to avoid. Number 1 is wearing the wrong makeup colors. Color analysis and our color-coded cosmetics make choosing the best shades of makeup easy. Mistake number 2 is harsh, unblended makeup colors. Blend, blend, blend. You never want to see a defined line where color begins or ends. Number 3 is too little makeup. Fear of looking overdone keeps many women from wearing makeup and looking their best. Number 4 is lip liner that shows. Remember to smudge along your lip line and fill in your entire lip with your lip pencil. Number 5 is misapplied blush. Always apply blush to the top of your cheekbones and blend. Number 6 is called a makeup mask. That's caused by wearing too much foundation or wearing foundation that's a different color than your natural skin tone. The 7th most common makeup mistake is having white brow bones. Eyeshadow should be lighter at the brow, but never white. Number 8 is unblended eyeliner. Always blend with a Q-tip. Number 9 is oily shine. Use oil controller, set makeup with translucent powder, and be sure to carry pressed powder or face feminizers for touch-ups. And number 10 is makeup meltdown. Creased eyeshadow, bleeding lip color. Use our control creams and this won't be a problem for you. Refer to your consultant guide for more information about makeup application.
Okay, I think we're...
BeautiControl's
Yeah, this is part 4 of 5 in this tape.
include
Image tools.
seasonal color books, our instant image makeover video,
Oh my god, I want that video.
profile, and our makeup personality guides. Each of these exclusive tools helps your clients complete their total image makeover and will keep them coming back to you. Offer your clients these tools free or at a discount to help you sell more skincare and cosmetics. Use them as incentives for clients to hold clinics. Our color books are indispensable wardrobe and shopping guides. The swatch card helps avoid costly color mistakes when shopping. Each booklet contains valuable information on the client's color season, a complete closet inventory guide, tips on building a basic core wardrobe to create more outfits with fewer pieces, along with basic tailoring, accessorizing, and shopping tips. Plus a shopping planner to help avoid impulse purchases, and a color matching guide to help you match items already in your wardrobe. A client can save hundreds, even thousands of dollars when she uses her color book to organize her wardrobe and shopping. If a client can only get one tool, suggest the color book first. BeautiControl's exciting instant image makeover video offers at least 100 image tips updating makeup, hair, clothing, and accessories. There are 4 tapes, one for each color season. Each includes lots of makeovers, plus important image do's and don'ts. Money-saving information on building casual, business, and evening core wardrobes. Closet organizing tips, and more shopping tips. It also introduces the concept of makeup and fashion personalities. And the 4 body types, which is part of our personal image profile program. The video and color book together make a great set which most consultants offer free with a large set of products. Our computer-assisted personal image profile program helps clients pull it all together. Use it to book clinics with clients who already have their color book and video. All you have to do is give your client her questionnaire packet. She then completes the questionnaire in the privacy of her own home. It takes about 20 minutes. She sends the answer sheet directly to BeautiControl. We process it and send her her very own completely individualized personal image profile booklet. Her profile cover will coordinate
Remember when
with her color
BuzzFeed
book
quizzes
cover.
had to be
Her
done
body
by
type,
mail?
which is essential to dressing well. The profile will give her information on her facial shape and which earring shapes, eyeglass frames, and hairstyles will be best. She'll receive an eye makeup technique based on her eye shape, plus other makeup tips specific to her features. That's followed by 6 pages of clothing recommendations based on her body type and proportions. Then, tips for accessorizing according to her primary and secondary makeup and fashion personalities. 2 pages of tips about fabric, line, and texture. Core wardrobing ideas based on her color season. Tips on coordinating her makeup and clothing colors. An accessorizing chart to determine if she's over or under accessorized. Shopping tips and specific tailoring for her body type. An action plan is also included, and there's even a pocket for her color book. The profile is an incredible image service you offer that doesn't take any of your time. And BeautiControl ships each profile with a dose of color sample and a product brochure to re-promote your cosmetics. Remember, when a client receives the video and color book with her purchase of a large set of products, you can use the profile as an incentive to book another clinic. The color books, video, and profile are unique tools that your clients can't get anywhere else.
One of the first things my consultants, after I recruit them, one of the first things I ask them to do is to do their personal image profile and get it in immediately. When they get it back, they're so excited. And they see what their body type is and what their facial shape is, and they'll say, oh, they think I should cut my hair, or I should wear a different style of glasses or whatever, and they're real excited. And what happens is they talk about that with other people, and they share their profile, and then it stimulates business for them. And the same thing with when you get your swatch book. I encourage them to carry it in their purse and to go shopping with it. They'll call and say, maybe I'm having a problem booking a clinic or something. And I encourage them to take their swatch book, go out and shop and look at their book, and people will ask them what they're doing.
New consultants, first of all, must do their own measurements. They must have their own profile, and they have to be sold on it. When I hear consultants say nobody wants to book a clinic for a color book or a profile, then I know that that person does not truly know the value of the tool that she has. And we can't sell what we don't believe in.
Makeup and fashion personality analysis is another exclusive image service you can offer your clients at follow-up consultations and clinics. This analysis reveals which style of makeup and clothing a client prefers and helps her define her own individual look. There are 4 makeup fashion personalities: natural, classic, dramatic, and romantic. Naturals like an easygoing, casual look with subtle makeup colors. When they wear makeup, they want it to look as if they're not made up. They like softer, more neutral colors. Classics prefer an elegant, tailored look with sophisticated makeup and hair. They like neutral makeup shades for eyes, but more intense colors for lips. A winter classic will live in red lipstick. The classic look is what you should promote for career dressing. Romantics love lots of lace and flowers. They choose soft or pastel makeup colors. Dramatics love makeup and like to experiment. They are trendsetters, always wearing the latest fashions. You can offer clients 2 ways to get makeup fashion personality analysis: from you in a follow-up clinic or consultation, or by getting their personal image profile. In your follow-up clinic or consultation, you have 2 ways you can do the analysis. Your flip chart includes pages you can use to let clients select which personality best fits them. Or you can purchase our Makeup Fashion Personality Quiz and let their answers show them their predominant style. BeautiControl offers 3 makeup personality guides: 1 for warms, 1 for cools, and 1 for women of color. The makeup personality guides will help your clients achieve a more harmonious look from head to toe by matching their makeup style to the style of clothing they wear. You can increase your cosmetic sales by offering one of these brochures free with every cosmetics purchase. In addition to our image tools, BeautiControl also offers some sales aids to help you build your business. Thank you gifts are small tokens of appreciation you give to someone who agrees to have a clinic. A hostess will be less likely to cancel if she's already received something from you. You'll find more information about BeautiControl's image tools and sales aids in your consultant guide.
Remember, when it comes to our image tools, it's better not to sell them like you would a product. You want your clients to invest in products they will reorder. As a BeautiControl consultant, you're in the unique position of being able to help other women in 3 significant ways. First is with our incredible products. Second is with our exclusive services and image tools. And now, Dick will tell you the third way you can help other women while making your dreams
We get to
come
meet
true.
Dick. Also, this is like a workbook. It has you fill in the 10 color makeup mistakes as they're
Today I want to
discussed.
talk with you about how you can achieve all of your financial dreams with
Dick.
your earnings from the BeautiControl career plan.
Go to hell, Dick.
As a BeautiControl consultant, you can work your business however you want, part-time or full-time. It's up to you. Of course, the more consistent your efforts, the more you will earn. Maybe all you want from BeautiControl is to make a little extra money each month, to save enough to buy something for your family. Maybe some new furniture, a new television, or a family vacation. If these are your dreams, BeautiControl can help you achieve them. Maybe your dreams are bigger, a new car, a new home, a whole new lifestyle. Whatever your dream, BeautiControl has a place for you. And thousands of others are proving every day that dreams do come true with BeautiControl. As you consider your future, as you consider your dreams, let me share with you that in BeautiControl there are 3 ways to earn money. 1, you can work for it by selling BeautiControl products at clinics and consultations. Your return will be based on the hours you work. Many BeautiControl consultants make $25 per hour or more just holding consultations. Second, you can make your money work for you by investing it. But you have to have money already to use as collateral. The third way to earn money is to multiply your earnings by getting others to work with you and receiving commissions on their sales. At BeautiControl, we call that working
A pyramid
smart.
scheme. Oh.
The process is called recruiting. Let's talk about the hows and whys of recruiting new consultants. Were I in your shoes, 3 questions would come to mind. What is recruiting? What are the benefits of recruiting? And if I recruit, what are my responsibilities to my new consultant? Let's take them one at a time. What is recruiting? Simply stated, it's sharing. Sharing the fun and the excitement of a BeautiControl career, and of course, sharing the earning opportunity you have with someone else. The economic world we live in today has forced many women to look for extra sources of income to maintain their family's standard of living. More often than not, in both single and dual parent homes, this is the case. Generally, these women find the extra income in the form of a part-time job.
I want to see a TV show in the vein of The Wire, but instead of about drug dealers
And maybe you did too.
fighting over the market,
Personally,
it's
I believe
about
that you owe it to every woman you meet
suburban
to share
housewives
BeautiControl's incredible
feuding
earnings
over the
opportunity.
MLM.
Where else can
market
today's
potential.
busy woman find a career with flexible hours, job satisfaction, and the opportunity to earn $800 to $1,000 per month or more and drive a company car with just a part-time commitment? You do
Drive
have
a
an
company car. Does he just mean putting a bumper sticker on your car and calling it a company car?
to someone else. That's recruiting. That's sharing the BeautiControl way. And while you're thinking of who might find the answers to their needs with BeautiControl, it's important to remember that not everybody comes into our company for the same reason or with the same needs or dreams. Some join just to have fun, others to make a little extra money. Some set their sights on becoming a director. Still others aspire to even higher levels of achievement. I want to encourage you not to assume that everyone you recruit wants the same thing from BeautiControl that you do. And whether or not you currently plan on being actively involved in recruiting, you need to know that when friends and clients see how excited you are about achieving your dreams, they will ask about how they can become a consultant too. When this happens, and I promise you it will, relax, listen, and just share from your heart. Ask her what her dreams are, then listen carefully. I mean, really listen to what she's telling you. Then and only then
lie to her
share
face.
with her how BeautiControl can help her achieve her dreams as it has helped thousands of others achieve theirs. Now, the second question I said we'd address here today was, what are the benefits of recruiting? Well, first, you're eligible to receive a new consultant award of $50 when your new consultant signs her agreement and gets started by placing her startup order.
I can't tell if this background is a soft marble texture or just an extreme close-up of human skin.
Her dream. And when you recruit just 2 more consultants, or a total of 3, you can become a senior consultant and receive the 50% discount level
I think
on
it's
all
human
your
skin.
personal orders.
I think this
regardless
tape
of
is made of
size.
human skin.
As a senior consultant, you'll also earn a 4% commission on the sales of your consultants. Now, you're really starting to work through others. At BeautiControl, remember, we call that working smart.
A pyramid scheme.
And when you continue to recruit and reach a total of just 5 consultants, you can become a unit VIP and earn 8% commission on all they order. Do you realize that's a 100% raise in commission?
Appreciate
from
the
moving
cheese
from
ghosts.
Senior
Thank you,
consultant
Cheese Hammer.
to unit VIP? Earlier, I mentioned that with BeautiControl, you could work part-time and earn $800 to $1,000 per month or more and drive a company car. Well, you can reach this level in our
Just
career.
make all your friends into
in
your
as
feudal
few as
vassals.
Just 4 months, though 4 to 8 is probably a more reasonable goal. Here's how you do it. When your unit of consultants grows to just 12, and you exhibit consistent personal sales and show your consultants how to do the same, you will drive a company car and be earning over $12,000 a year. And as I said, you can do this part-time while still holding another job. Remember, this can happen in as short a time as 4 to 8 months. It's really up to you. Our earning opportunities don't stop here. We have hundreds of women driving company automobiles and earning incomes of up to $250,000 a year. What a fabulous opportunity you have at your fingertips. And it is not available anywhere else but at BeautiControl. Now, the third question I said we'd discuss today is, what are your responsibilities for the consultants you share your opportunity with? And let me add, what aren't your responsibilities as well? In fact, let me begin by sharing that you are not responsible for their success or failure. 25 years of working with others has clearly shown me that I cannot control the success of others. I can offer them an opportunity, but only they can determine their success. I want to urge you to learn from my years of experience. Don't judge yourself by what others choose to do or not to do with the
So
opportunity
rope them
give
into
them.
the scam.
Don't let your fear of their failure stop
And
you
then
from
emotionally
giving them the
distance
gift of the greatest
yourself from the
opportunities
consequences that
available to
you
women
have
in North
contributed
America
to.
Today. You offer the gift. What they choose to do with it is up to
This
them.
whole thing seems kind of exploitative,
I've
huh?
covered what your responsibilities aren't.
It's almost like this guy is a
What are
huge
your
asshole.
responsibilities as a recruiter? All you really have to do are 3 very simple things. First, help her fill out the consultant agreement and decide on what amount of initial inventory will be right for her. Second, send in her consultant agreement and call your director to schedule her orientation. And third, arrange to take her with you to 2 clinics or consultations to help prepare her for her classroom training. BeautiControl can help you achieve all of your financial dreams, and at the same time, you'll have the personal fulfillment of helping other women achieve their dreams. How far you go and how much money you choose to make depends entirely on you. The most important thing today is to get busy, take action, and always keep sharing on your mind. As you continue to climb the BeautiControl career ladder, you'll continue to earn greater and greater rewards.
God, they did all this
including,
before
as I mentioned
Facebook,
earlier,
too.
An income that can go into 6 figures, including trips all over the world, including luxury cars and countless other awards. Nancy K. Chase joined BeautiControl just 5 years ago. Today, she's a national executive director. She drives a company, Mercedes-Benz, has built her dream house along with a country house, all while raising 2 wonderful children who, along with her husband, Steve, are all very proud of her accomplishments.
Well, I think the most fun part about BeautiControl is being able to share the opportunity with other women, especially when you see the needs that women have today. The neatest thing is to see women catch sight of the opportunity, work hard, and then develop their own group, their own organization, their own business, and to be successful and to be proud of themselves. I think I have more fun sitting in the audience cheering them on than I really do seeing myself on a video or on stage.
So now is the time to start making all of your dreams come true. Go to your phone. Go right now and call a friend. Share your enthusiasm about BeautiControl and book a skincare consultation or a clinic. And remember, she'd like to hear about the earning opportunity you have to offer.
That was very, very 1993 in so many ways. Particularly the fact that they were not legally mandated to share the figures about what tiny percentage of people participating in this program actually had the kind of results they were talking about. One of the really like stark things about MLMs like this is that it's like 99.7% of people participating in them lose money. Jeez. And maybe you should have to like point that out as part of your pitch. What comes next? Well, what comes next for us is the end of the stream and doing whatever you want with your day. But what comes next for the BeautiControl consultant? The next important step is to get busy conducting consultations and clinics. Don't get sidetracked with trying to memorize scripts. Instead, concentrate on sharing your products and services with other women and help them to be the best they can be. The sale will come naturally. When demonstrating products, this is just general life advice. I hope you carry this with you in your day. When demonstrating products or doing anything, really, remember that with skincare, feeling is believing. And with color cosmetics, seeing is believing. Continually ask your clients how their skin feels and how they like their new look. BeautiControl will offer additional self-study videos. Look for them in The Achiever, which is, I guess, their publication. Your director, your consultant guide, and of course BeautiControl are available to help you every step of the way. Your skin is wrong and bad, and you need to fix it. Give us money. Hey, well, thanks everybody. I guess we won't be here on Saturday because there's other stuff going on. But I should be back on Wednesday, so come back for more tapes. Thank you all for being here. And I'll see you next time. Also vote. Yeah, holy shit. God, I hate everything. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Bye.